Market just spiked a little higher here at this 8 a.m. candle. Overall, though, kind of hanging out near yesterday's highs for the S&P 500. NASDAQ looking a little bit weaker, having a little bit of a harder time with this pre-market high, but lots to talk about here. Oil is going to be once again in focus. We know President Trump, in an interview that was released this morning, said that he is opening the Strait of Hormuz and that China has agreed not to send any weapons to Iran. So posting again after this interview saying that, yes, China is happy that he's opening the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is being reopened after that U.S. blockade. Here is USO right now, right around where we closed as of yesterday. But it's not just geopolitical headlines, guys. There are a ton of headlines to talk about. Some of them also involve some economic numbers. At 8:30 a.m. right here, Sharif and I will bring for you the import and export prices. We're also going to be getting at 10 a.m. NAHB housing market index. So a couple smaller numbers. 8:30 a.m. we're going to get Fed's bar, then at 1:45 Fed's Bowman. So definitely not the level of Fed commentary we were getting yesterday, but still some Fed comments throughout the day to be aware of. Tons of stories, though, across the market. We've got Mag 7 names in watch. We have smaller caps in focus, even some meme runners. Sharif, what are some of the stories to know?
Yeah, some of the stories, Adara. Google facing possible antitrust lawsuit here. This time it's over their app store, the Google Play Store, not Apple's this time. Also, Amazon's Globestar deal, more information about that. We'll talk about that. Tesla also advancing their AI chip roadmap with that A15 design. Elon basically saying it's all but done, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then Meta and Broadcom, this story coming out late yesterday, tying the knot. A good look here for Broadcom as they continue to help some of these hyperscalers with their custom silicon. And ASML kind of disappointed here with the reaction, raising guidance, Adara, but they're down 2 3/4 here to start the morning.
Yeah, definitely a lot to discuss, that's for sure. But let's start with Sean and Neil. What are you guys looking at today?
Well, good morning, everybody. Maybe some Robinhood up another 8%. That's worth looking at. ASML might be disappointing. Morgan Stanley decided to buck the trend where they have good earnings and the bank actually goes higher. Go figure. But, I mean, how could you not be looking at NVIDIA? Remember that 195 that broke out pretty big there in the afternoon? And you see right there, CoreWeave apparently we should pay attention to because Jane Street Group has taken an additional $1 billion stake in CRWV. So sometimes these questions, you don't really know. They answer themselves. CoreWeave. Hey, CoreWeave, what were you doing down in the first? This is actually down a couple of points until that news. But that looks like it's getting a little bit of a bump here. I mean, probably I'm going to pay attention to crypto as well because there was some relative weakness over there. And ETH wasn't too great relative to the overall market. If you're going to look for things that stuck out there, like it was just downward trending pretty much off the jump when it was exact opposite that you saw in the Qs and the SPY. So yeah, a little bit of relative weakness in crypto, like that'll be on the mind. ASTS, space name's going to be in play. There's a lot to watch from Tesla again. Pick and choose. When the market's getting back into highs, all-time highs, you have names that are starting to go. You've got PayPal randomly is one of the ones that's trying to go, and then like we said, Robinhood getting off the schneid. Even Nike is up today. So
yeah, it seems like you know, you'd even what's up, everybody? You look at this CoreWeave, it's like it was just $70. Like you know, some of these pickups down here, you know, it's not like CoreWeave didn't give you many opportunities to believe in it. It was down November, like this $70 mark, quite amazing. Now you're up to 119 right now or so, or maybe 116. Yeah, great move there. Intel giving a little bit back right now as well. But welcome, it's Wednesday here today, hump day. So Intel, Intel only down 0.1% right now. NASDAQ flat, ES flat, banks rocking. I mean, Morgan Stanley here. I mean, some of this trading revenue and fixed income trading, 21% return. It's just amazing to see what, and again, like this is another name that's like what were we even doing down here to rewind 3 weeks. Wow, just big time movement there for Morgan Stanley. Looks like we'll try to take out 193, you know, quick as you like, as I like to say around here. 3% right now from Morgan Stanley. Yeah, man, it's going to be a big one. Didn't get much sleep last night. Got to bed late and woke up was up like at 5:30, tossing and turning. So freaking stupid.
Look at everybody.
Yeah, just got too much on my mind, I guess. Yeah, there it is. Intel now staying a little lower. News about ceasefires and all this stuff happening. So we could definitely look at crude right here. Oh, Trump is talking right now, I guess. So, all right, that's probably why. Fox Business interview, apparently. 1% right now for oil upside. So this is going to be, should be a fun day anyways. The PDT rule, really, we talked.
Well, we
talked about that yesterday. And you can see now with Robinhood, I mean, it's not like it's rocket science. We literally sat here and in the afternoon, Joe came on and we talked a little bit, about the PDT rule. And then, we're just sitting here watching Robinhood and, we should have probably maybe been a little more aggressive and picked up some more shares there yesterday on Robinhood because, yeah, it's a great story there. The more trading and the more money that they're going to be making, they make tons of cash every single time a trade is hit there. Not tons if you do it enough. Look at Webull as well, bouncing off 5 to 650 right now. The U.S. has not agreed. Okay. I don't know if any of this really matters, man. I mean, like the market, there's just going to be a back and forth, right? I mean, it's just going to go. I think what we're looking for now is what a lot of traders are looking for are dip opportunities to get in there and buy because, you always think you missed the bottom. And I think this time you probably did miss the bottom on many names, right? And so you can see the market's almost back to all-time highs. So yeah, I think there's a lot of traders looking to try to pick something up on the cheap. And if you're looking for something on the cheap, Microsoft is still pretty cheap compared to, a lot of these other moves. Amazon is all the way back up to its highs. Google is up here. Apple needs to get going a little bit. Meta got back a little bit. So the next one that we're waiting for it to change something in their business, Microsoft. There's so much cash, I think that Microsoft can eventually work. Yeah, our little screen here is all tilted.
Yeah, like,
there you go.
Yeah, it's
fixed right there. We should have Luis Barbado on today too.
Yeah, we're supposed to have
some small caps.
Well, the other thing too is you mentioned Microsoft, like the IGV itself, like the software names have made a temporary bottom here. Maybe they didn't really push through yesterday. See, this is the other side of the coin in yesterday's trade. Like we were talking about how Bitcoin wasn't all that strong. Like you had just complete and utter trend up in the NASDAQ, but from the open, it was just the complete opposite for the software ETF. So like there's just these kernels out here where, if we end up weak, I know for sure that it's like I like the crypto, but you could look at the IGV's potential weakness. But Robinhood, Webull, I know there's a lot of Webull gets a lot of hate because the stock has been trash for a while, but it's bounced off 5. This was already making a press at 6, just on a 2-day regular trend, and now you get this extra push. So I think both Webull and Hood are up about 9%. But don't look now. You're over the 50-period moving average. You haven't been able to say that since October of last year for Webull. So this is the kind of move that you can confirm a bit of a trend turn, and you almost want to like it. You got the VIX like well under 20 and absolutely chilling out. And we haven't really been affected too much by some of the moves in US. So not that it's had many, oil hasn't had many big up moves the last couple of days, but I feel like even when it was making like muted moves, it wasn't that big of a deal. So this has been trend down for a couple of sessions. Unless that changes, I don't see any reason that you just kind of lean into the things that were strong yesterday. And if it was relatively weak, that's one thing. Like ASTS is an example, crypto is an example for me. There's things that were definitely weak, and I'll be looking the other direction today. But for the most part, NVIDIA looks strong. I like that Tesla look as well, Robinhood as well. So geared up, and we're excited. And there's one that'll be a mover for you, Sharif, in small cap land. I know Sidhu's moving around, although I know you do short things. But Sidus and the space names have been in play. It's a little bit flattish, but watch the $5 level. There's been a lot of even dollar levels on these small caps. There's one the other day was like exactly off of $1 that it bounced off of. Sidhu bounced twice off of exactly $5 yesterday. Like twice, not once. Twice. First time to like 560, second time to like 540. So that's a big level to watch on that particular space name. As we got a special delivery. Ooh.
What is that?
It was like quiche.
Oh,
world's smallest quiche.
Yeah, that's what they are, quiche. Yeah.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay, quiche with a little bit of red pepper on it, if you're wondering what that is. Thanks, Randy,
bacon.
For all of that. Yeah, it's pretty warm and rainy around here these days.
A lot of rain.
Pretty rainy for the next little while. Okay, yeah, let's go back over the desk. It's 8:10. As we said, Luis should be around here on 8:30.
Senior, we're already getting quite a few headlines in the oil space, and by that I mean these geopolitical headlines, whether or not the ceasefire will be extended. We know the U.S. said they don't really want to extend the ceasefire. They are looking to continue these negotiations, at least that's according to an Axios reporter. We also have comments from Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson saying there has not been any date for any more talks yet. So we know they want to have more talks, but it looks like still kind of at a standstill. What else can you tell us from earlier today, Sharif, about this that people should know about for a while?
President Trump using these exact words, Adira, the war is very close to being over. We'll see. U.S. officials apparently are actively discussing new negotiations, potentially within days. Islamabad being discussed here as a possible location for those negotiations. The momentum's building ahead of this kind of fragile ceasefire expiration, which expires, I believe, next week. Tone is suggesting, though, that there is urgency from both sides, especially because now the U.S. is actually enforcing the blockade on Iranian ports. Obviously, that's the way that they're funding this war. They're sending out oil as well as other products. President Trump indicated, Adara, that oil prices should decline once the conflict ends. And he always, a guy for hyperbole, he expects equities to, quote, boom post-conflict. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, let's see if these boom. How are you guys doing?
I mean, expect it to boom post-conflict.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of booming right now.
What do we call this then? The bounce out, like we've already erased the gains, or sorry, erased the losses from the war in the first place. The Qs are, sorry, I just had that key, which was pretty good. A little small though. No, the Qs are pretty much a stone's throw. What, like $5, $6? Okay, maybe it's more like 7. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, it's like $7 or $8 from the high. It doesn't really make a difference. You're a 1.5 away on the Qs and the SPY about the same thing. So I feel like some of that's already come in here. And sorry to say, I don't think it's even about, it's like the war matters, and certainly you don't want there to be longer oil shock price. If there's more of a shock on oil prices, it's a lot longer, and this lingers for more weeks or maybe even months longer, then you will start talking about things like recession and more inflation problems and already some strain in the labor market, and that could weigh on the markets. But right now it's about earnings. We're heading right into earnings season, and the markets tend to, when there is a war or conflict, they price it in quick, and then they move on. And right now, the market's been in the move on phase, and earnings is what we're moving on into. Now, obviously, we don't have, like, we got what, like Netflix tomorrow, we've had some banks, and we had ASML in there, but that's gonna matter so much more. Let's see how, let's see how the memory chip names are doing on margins, right? Let's see how the CapEx spend is going for the hyperscalers. And let's see how concerned some of the software companies or what their CEO's responses are on some of the calls to some of the concerns for the software companies and for the cybersecurity names. Like, that's where I'm going to be focused. And then you take the headlines as they come with the war. But driving factor is this market's moved on.
Yeah, if you look here, you also have, everything, nothing really matters except for rates. We can talk here about everything we want about this war. It doesn't really matter. If rates were on the increase, this market would be getting crushed, but that's just not the case anymore. And it's now, if we go back into December, it is looking more and more like we are going to get these rate cuts, right? Like into April here, obviously they're not going to get anything. Little bit of a rate hike. There was, in the past when we were down there 3 weeks ago, this number was was much bigger. Now that we're more calmed down, it's just about rates. It has nothing, everything else. Like I said, oil doubled. The market should not be at all-time highs. That's never ever happened in history. But right now you have the rates that looks like will be holding steady, if not a cut now into year end. This is what's rallying the market. There's really nothing else. So we're going to get earnings, and hopefully that can be a good little boost to it. But yeah, with Kevin Warsh coming, hopefully we do get at least one rate cut. And there's even a chance right now at 2. I mean, there was, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks ago when the market was getting crushed, which I have to get up the daily market, doesn't matter. These rates were the other way around. Okay, so now it's flipped over. So now the market can reassume having the Fed behind its back, right, instead of on top of its back. So that's something that you're going to want to watch out for. If rates start to change, then maybe we'll get a little bit of a different trajectory. But for right now, it is up, and away for the NASDAQ. and for all these companies, right? I mean, the banks' earnings look like they're going to be pretty strong. I don't remember the last time we came out of a bank season and all the banks generally were up. I mean, I know Wells Fargo had
the only blip.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay. But anyways, so that's nice. And we'll just have to see. ASML starting to go southbound a little bit, but they've had such a good run again off some of those lows. Now ASML down 5%. This is getting crushed here right now, but they did, sort of solidify their space and the demand for chips. So you're not really seeing it happening to NVIDIA or. Yeah, I mean, it's well run. There's, NVIDIA 0.5%, AMD. I mean, look, the NASDAQ was up 1.9% yesterday. For some of these names that come back, wouldn't surprise me any bit. So, yeah, I think it's just going to be a really fun day to trade. Could be relatively quiet is my estimation, but there's always names to trade.
And there's always JKL with the super chat. Timely as always. Appreciate you. Chest and back day report. Okay, get all upper body. Maybe some people like to separate them, but you can get it all done. Yeah, I like to push pull, but sometimes you got to get it all done, Sharif. Closed out silver yesterday and added to oil. Will remain in oil for the short time being. SBIT or SQQQ could be in play today. I actually think today it'll be more activity in specific in play stuff. Like I think today you want to look at like Robinhood. I know we keep talking about them, but Robinhood and I guess to an extent like Webull would be in play. The space names after the Globe Star, again, they're moving around and they're going to be in play a little bit. I think the chips led the way yesterday, so you kind of come back into that. I just think we'll get more movement out of those. And just one note when we're talking about the oil thing, it's worth keeping in mind when we look at the oil shock we've had. Most of the comparisons that get made to oil's up this much and the market's doing that, you're talking about a time now where oil's influence on GDP is less than half of what it was back when we had the big oil shock in the 70s. It's just things are so vastly different in the global economy in terms of reliance on crude oil. So that's a decent part of it. Not to say that we're not relying on it, but that's a decent piece of the puzzle. And then on ASML's tone, it's just it's a triple top for them. It feels like when Micron had that blowout earnings as well, and it was just okay, but it was you were going into a lot. It was almost the same kind of chart, and it kind of failed that high, and everyone's like, oh no, this is the end for Micron, and about 2 weeks later, it bottomed out and it's right back at the high. So ASML's done this before at those particular price levels. Sometimes it's just you've gone too much into the earnings report and profit takers are ready and willing to do so. Wait till SanDisk reports. I can't imagine there won't be people ringing the register on that sucker. This could be at 1100 by the time these guys report, and they're actually pulling back a couple of points today here, SNDK, for what it's worth, along with ASML. So yeah, lots to watch, lots to consider. Again, JKL, thank you for that super chat. We appreciate you, and keep the messages coming. I actually just saw we got some gifts from TikTok. I want to acknowledge Burner Email, T-Rock, Reds. We got some viewers in TikTok. Wherever you find us, we're always going to be locked and loaded here. And I know soon we're going to have Mr. Joe, but not just yet. That quiche was good, but that is so small.
I don't like quiche. Too much pastry.
It's tasty, but the problem is to get full off of it.
It's pretty tasty.
You have to eat 4 of them, and then it's
they're like little bites. Those are like little bites over there. So
I prefer when we get I thought we were getting that egg sandwich. I said that yesterday. I'm like, we're gonna we're gonna get the egg sandwich in the morning, and then we didn't get it.
Yeah, it was pretty tasty. I like the bananas as well coming through there. Yeah, look, I was just looking at some of the names from yesterday that were really super hot, right? I mean, AMD, you want to talk about, coming up to triple tops and stuff like that, like ASML. The same thing's happening right now with AMD as you come up into this 260 area. So potential pullback zones here, still up 1%, sorry, down 1% on the day. We'll look to see if it can get back upside and maybe look for a short potentially in AMD. Right now, I don't have, I have Tesla written down. maybe I'll put out a tweet, see what you guys want to trade today as well, because right now there's not a whole heck of a lot. Some quantum names maybe. You know, yesterday we had IonQ that was starting to go. We had Brian Shannon on talking about some of these names starting to get going a little bit there yesterday on apparently World Quantum Day, whatever that means. $30, you know, looked like a decent bid, but wouldn't be surprised if you missed a lot of this. Down into 19, looked like that might have been the low. So there that goes. I saw SMR trying to get back going there. Best it, the quarter will be slower than it was. This quarter will be slower than it was. Okay. Whatever that means. And then SMR over here as well, they started to get a bid off at $10. So there's some of these names that I'm looking at here today that have been relatively strong and maybe can continue that movement to the north side. We'll look at some SMR. Joe's ready at the big board. Let's go find out what he's up to.
Yes, sir. Welcome, guys. Once again, let's take a look at some of the action in the options world yesterday. We're going to be pulling up this name as it continues to climb a little bit higher. Some good points here and some interesting things that we get to talk about in regards to the appreciation of specific contracts. Which contract are we going to talk about? It's going to be this $195 strike price there, guys. But we're also going to take a look at the open interest and the volume. Open interest sitting around 104,000 contracts. We had at the 190 mark, 99,000, which grew in the intraday session to 103,000. But this is going to be an additional supply zone. Let's see if this is going to be absorbed here, guys. And then if we can continue to climb, and then that next mark is going to be at that $200 strike price. Now, as for volume, guys, 113,000 contracts opened and closed on yesterday's session. The value of these before this open, guys, is going to be around $3.45 if you're going to be purchasing. And if you're an options writer, $3.35. That's a $10 spread on NVDA. We don't typically see that, but I suspect it's probably going to tighten up a little bit after the open. Now, let's look at some of our Greeks here, guys. Delta, considering we are at the money here now, 59. So for every $1 change in NVDA, we're going to see a $59 change within that contract. This will come on this bottom line here. Now, as for the gamma exposure, 0.061, not bad whatsoever, but a slight uptick in implied volatility here, guys, to 35.8%. Now, one thing that I really want us to focus on here is what we can see is that from the opening session on yesterday to about 5 minutes before the close, we have a staggering 344% return on this contract, which was worth at some point 75 cents or $75, climbing to a high of $313. So that's a substantial return in that specific contract. Now, moving forward, waiting for me, my friend. There we go. Netflix is going to be our next contract. We're going to be looking at this $110 strike price. But first things first, we're going to be looking at the open interest and the volume. We're going to talk about the chart here momentarily, but I really want us to look at this open interest not very much at this $110 mark. I think we have the ability to absorb this and continue to climb a little bit higher. 23,600 contracts open and closed on yesterday's session. Now, if we get to our bid in the ask, $3 spread, not too bad. Once again, this is going to be expiring on Friday. But as for our delta, guys, sitting at that $35 metric, some of our Greeks here, the gamma exposure relatively cool, and then the at the money IV, it's very elevated. I had to blink twice and pinch myself to make sure that was right. 94.9% on the implied volatility. That's a massive uptick. Sharif, we can see that translated into some of these options contracts here, and that is an 1,100% return from March to April, yesterday's session. But one thing that I really want us to note on this chart specifically, when we see options contracts and they go through their decay, you don't recover like this. So that's a massive recovery, very often we should say. But this is a massive recovery here, 1,100%, a little bit more than that in the span of a couple of weeks here on that specific contract with Netflix. Moving forward, they're going to take a look at Palantir. Guys, we're just going to look at this specifically. I'm not saying that we're going to head lower or anything along those lines. One thing to note is that if we can find a potential base here in Palantir at this $130 strike price, open interest sitting around 27,000 contracts with the volume around 13,000 open and closed yesterday. Now we have a dollar spread that's relatively tight. Your delta always going to be negative on the put side, sitting around that $19 metric, gamma 0.39. That's relatively high gamma exposure here, guys. And then your at-the-money IB sitting around 54.9%. As for the contract itself, it is a victim of theta and volatility decay. But we'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades. Let's send it back to Sean and Neil.
Always thank you, Joe. Man, Netflix was a rocket. I mean, look, a lot of things were rocket ships yesterday. Like if you're, like there was so much out there that did like the, you know, like the hallelujah, unbelievable opening candle, and then you just had some crazy continuation. Netflix is going to be among those, no questions asked. But yeah, you can't really complain. It's not like the thing is, it's easy to say that things are looking flat right now because, well, when you have a day like that, oftentimes without like a specific catalyst, you're going to try to find some consolidation. But I like consolidations in uptrends. They give you a good base, and then you just sort of wait for that second leg to go. And when there's a big opportunity like that, you want to try to take advantage of it, especially when it's giving you that nice trend trade. And the other thing that's happening, man, is we were talking about with PDT and everyone looking at these markets for opportunities. But you know what? If you're trying to scale as an equity trader, the other way to think about it is looking for a prop shop like Prop Shop Trader, because they're a multi-asset proprietary trading firm, and they're designed to remove some typical barriers to trade. You don't have to worry about pattern day trading anymore, but you also don't have to worry about licensing requirements, which is a big deal. And you can also access futures within the same environment. You can day trade, you can swing trade, and you've got the flexibility to manage multiple accounts and deploy different strategies. And the key is, why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Scan the QR code to unlock 60% off your first account, and Port Plus, a buy one and get one free. You can get started today. And yeah, trading someone else's capital a little bit easier than trading your own for sure. Jump into the arena. As they have the gladiator thing. I love that one. No, jump into the arena. And shout out to Prop Shop. I want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show. But yeah, well, the earnings name, well, not the earnings name, but the name on the option list I'm looking at is going to be that NVIDIA off the 195. But you can do worse than respect what's going on in Netflix. I just wouldn't be surprised if you find a consolidative type of day today, where maybe it'll respect some of the inside portion of the range. If you look at the morning, kind of like that morning high, which is about 105, it's like maybe you don't ever breach that and we sort of stay inside. I'd love for it to be a clean breakout day, but there's not a lot of breakouts that are happening unless you're looking at a Robinhood or such.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you have to do. It's like I was saying, with the market pretty flat today, you do want to look at something that potentially has an opportunity to move. I'm just put down SMR on my list here, down into the 200 period moving average. If we can get something near yesterday's close. Big deal yesterday with the UK, came out, funded some Rolls-Royce there with their nuclear outlook. I think it was almost about £1 billion or something into the space yesterday. It did tick all the way down into the close yesterday, so it's not like it's a great, not an awesome long, but I was just looking at this little level right into here. If we can somehow come back in through and get a bid in and around this 1040 area, then we can see if this little level holds there today. So I'm looking at some SMR up 5% right now. Scott Besson talking about Anthropic and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a problem for Palantir. As Palantir and Anthropic are trying to go head-to-head apparently here. Especially if Anthropic gets a nod for the U.S. government as well as another AI model, that could be a problem for Palantir. All right, we've got Luis Barbado coming up here, as well as some economic headlines and numbers. So let's go back over to the desk.
Yeah, of course, we're going to do the numbers first, just to make sure everyone gets these 8:30 a.m. numbers. Then we'll talk some small caps with our friend Luis Barbado of A Day Trading out in Barcelona. Worth noting, I dropped it in the chat, but AEO, American Eagle, did spike a little bit. We've got a new Sydney Sweeney collaboration, which I guess the market is pretty excited about. In 40 seconds, though, let's go over these numbers. We're expecting export prices and import prices on a month-over-month basis. So for these import prices, 2.3% forecast, 1.3% prior. We're expecting an uptick. Export prices we're expecting to be the same, 1.5% forecast, 1.5% previous print. NY Fed manufacturing 0 is the forecast, negative 0.2 is the prior print, and then we'll also get comments from Fed's Bar kicking off here at 8:30. Fed's Bar spoke a couple times yesterday, didn't see any noteworthy comments from him, so just be aware we are going to get those comments. That again at 10 a.m. NAHB Housing Market Index is going to be out, so not the end of the economic data, but we will get these import and export numbers at any moment now. I will let you guys know once I see these prints coming in. Not seeing import or export yet. I'm seeing Canada manufacturing data. Just give me a moment for these to populate. Gonna refresh this here. So yeah, sorry, that's kind of odd. I guess we're getting Fed's Hammock at 8:30 a.m. too. So more Fed speak today. Export prices 1.6% is the actual print. Previous was revised up to 1.9% from 1.5% before. So again, upward revision here for the prior print. Actual print 1.6%, slightly higher than what we were expecting. Import prices 0.8% here for the month of March. So again, we were expecting here 2% to 1.9%, but it looks like we got a revision as well. So both import and export prices getting these revisions today. NY manufacturing index 11, that's going to be well above the prior print of negative 0.2. So these economic numbers kind of all over the place today. Not too much of a market reaction, but we hope you all in the chat have an excited reaction when we bring on our regular guest. Thank you very much for being back here with us today, Luis Barbado of Day Trading. How are you doing today? How is the weather over in Spain?
The weather is pretty good, Adara. So far, it's like 24, 25 degrees, sunny. So summer is here already.
That's very exciting to hear. We're a little jealous here with this rain. I want to start here with a name that we had on our watch list. It's kind of toned down a little bit. Did have a bit of a catalyst here. What are your thoughts on Allied Gaming, AGAE? And I guess in general, how do you kind of approach a stock like this where it's still up, but it's quite far removed at this point from its pre-market high?
Yeah, it's a little bit far from pre-market highs. This one has lost a lot of volume and a lot of interest since other stocks are running up very sharp. We see this shift of volume to the newer stocks moving with a lot of momentum. So this one, AGAE, we're waiting for a push to the VWAP or near to highs. If it doesn't break highs, we're going to look for a short there. So far this morning, we were very focused on two Chinese and Hong Kong companies. It's a VSI. We did a massive short, this one here, VSI. We shorted this one around 130, 140, and it's already below $1. It's a nano float, which was a little bit tricky, but it's a nano float from China. That gives you a little bit, danger that it could go parabolic, but if you place higher stops, we shorted this one when it failed highs. We shorted 140, 130s, hold until VWAP. We should have hold longer because it lost already $1, but it was a nice trade. Second one was in a Hong Kong company, NCI. We shorted this one when it failed the new highs on, I think was 0.90 or something like that. There you go. We saw a nice retracement here. First attempt was this short against the VWAP. We lost that one. We had to stop out when it broke VWAP and new highs. And we retried here when it lost again the VWAP parameters and all the way down to 0.66. A couple of good trades on Chinese nano float so far this morning.
Yeah, I saw that NCI. I was actually just about to ask you about this one. So thank you for bringing this up. I guess I have a bit of a question, and maybe you've answered this one before, but I think maybe bears repeating here for our stream, and also because I'm curious, with stocks like this, with the NCI, it can't get to that 90-cent level. It already gives back. Is this something that you'd keep on your radar in case it does try for that $1 again, or is this something where, as you said, other stocks come and go, you'd kind of move on and look at something else?
I think these couple of stocks are already done for the day. It's Chinese nanofloat companies. They push it up with news, with all news and all these kind of tricks of kind of manipulation, we could say, legal manipulation, of course. And when the movement is done, probably they are done for the day. We have another ones moving now. The volume has shifted there. I don't think we even see any new pop to the VWAP. I hope we will see it in VSI and NCI, but I don't think we will see this pop to VWAP to reshort these stocks. Right now, we are focused on Bird. There's a nice movement on the way up. It's been fighting now against some old resistance. Let me go to 15 minutes, for example, and you will see some old resistance. There you go. We are fighting this resistance 420, 450s. We are trying to short this one with very tight stops over pre-market highs. If we see, again, shift of volume to a new stock, this will go down, we'll lose VWAP and so on. So this is one of what we are looking. And the other one is LRHC, this one. It's a very tiny float again, 3 million shares only. And this we like because it has what we call pump and dump history. Oh, sorry, it's LRHC. Yeah, there you go. It has a pump and dump history. So this stock many times goes up and all the way down during the day. You have here one movement of from $3 to $7, all the way down. That's over 100% here. From 120 to 240, another 100% all the way down during the day. Another one, 0.90, $2 all the way down. So we like this one to short. We have already short there. It's already all the way down, you see? So when you look at the chart, believe the history repeats. You short it, it's already 50% from highs.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually have a question. I wonder if this name would be kind of up your alley. Something like SNAP Snap. Obviously, this is not your traditional low float small cap runner. It is up pretty decently, did have a catalyst involving layoffs and restating financial guidance. So is this the type of name that you would be looking at all today for either a long or a short, or would you just put that aside?
We will just put aside. It's not our core strategy. It has some news, it has some movement, some volume, but the way it moves is different than a small cap. The microstructure of the movements in a small caps are different. Here you look more the fundamentals, the previous highs, the trend, all the economic, what is happening in the world. It's not the same kind of movement. We trade these kind of stocks only when they have earnings, and we see that we have a very nice risk-reward trade. If not, we cannot apply the same strategy to blue chips or big companies. It's only for small caps.
So actually, speaking of earnings, I do have one more question for you here. So with some of these micro floats or these really small caps that you're trading, do you find there's a way that these kind of tend to react to these earnings reports? Is there a different way, I guess, to play and to look at these very micro cap, micro float earnings?
Actually, the big movements in these stocks are not because of the earnings. It's only because of the news of that day, the catalyst of that day. Listen, most of them, they are very tiny float, biotech or pharmacy companies when they don't have even one single product in the market. It's only research and speculations of what could happen if phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 products go through. But it's not so much about earnings, because in the earnings, everything is deducted. But it's more about they discover something, or they have test in some, beta test. It's all about that. The impact of one single new in this kind of companies is huge, much more than earnings.
Yeah, thank you so much for going over all of that here. Luis, Barbado, where can the people find you if they want to see you on social media, etc.?
They can try on X. We are at daytrading on X, and they can email us to info@daytrading.com.
Awesome. Well, you can see Luis on the show and often in this chat. He'll be here, I believe, at 1 p.m. today on the midday. Don't miss it. Thank you very much again for your small cap recap rundown in the morning here, Luis Barbado.
Thank you very much, Adar. And I have a question for you. Maybe Sean and Nick will help you out. NACM, what's going on there? It was a IPO yesterday. I think it's a Canadian company. It went from $10 to $60 and all the way down. What the hell is going on there?
Thank you, Luis.
Yeah, all right, guys. Thank you, Luis. Looking forward to more conversation with you this afternoon. Also, check him out in the chat, guys. All right, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades and some lowering of the price target. Now, we're going to start off with Shift4 Payments. They're going to get a downgrade here from Outperform to Pure Perform, guys, by Wolf Research. And then we have Integra Therapeutics also getting the downgrade as well, going from a buy to a hold by Argus. Now, a couple of price targets being lowered here, guys. Robert W. Baird lowering Lucid's price target from $14 to $12. And then we also have Microsoft holding on to positivity here, a little bit less than 0.7%. But getting a $40 price target here from $540 to $500. Moving forward, let's take a look at some more of the positive things. Atlas Energy Solutions getting the upgrade here, guys. You're up just a little bit more, a little bit less than 2%. $10 price target being increased to $18 by Citi. Then we have Johnson & Johnson also getting the nod as well too. You're up about 1/3% here, guys. $267 to $283 by Morgan Stanley. And then we have JPMorgan reporting yesterday before the open, holding on by a thread to positivity, but a price increase by Baird, $290 to $295. And then we also have Citibank as well too, guys. You're up about 0.56% here this morning. Price target of $154 with an overweight rating by Barclays. Let's see if these banks can start to perform. Let's see what the boys think over at the desk.
I mean, I really think there. Yeah, unfortunately that
I couldn't
IPO, we didn't have it in our system
I didn't
yesterday,
see it.
so it doesn't look like we can't get the quote right now. If it was NCAL, we thought. Anyways, not in the system right now. But if you want to look at NCAL, we
N ACL or N? There is
NACL,
but I
yeah, that is no. I don't. It wasn't that either because that's not even on eSignal. Okay, so sorry, we'll have to get whatever. If you guys know the NCIM. NCIM. Okay, it's still not in our system. NCIM. No. Okay, forget it. Nothing's working. Okay, so just keep putting random stuff in the chat, and me and Neil just keep on calling up any symbol you put in there, okay? But maybe someone can find what that really, that IPO was. We can check the IPO calendar, actually.
NICM.
Would be pretty easy.
Must be. Okay, whatever.
Okay, whatever. It's definitely not GoPro. But yeah, I like that J&J talk there. You know, we said the other day, they came out with their earnings. They kind of did touch near this low again, and there it goes, trying to break a little higher right now through the 50-period moving average. I mean, we're not trying at all. We're flat. But I like the name. We get that little bit of an upgrade. We have to read to see what that upgrade's about before we dump more money into JPMorgan. Like, I wish it was almost sort of inverted a little bit and we were basing somewhere down here ready to pop up. But yeah, Johnson & Johnson's been, a really good success story there. Good dividend. There's the breakout. And this is what I mean. Like, I wish it was kind of like down here, bouncing around and getting ready to do this instead of already. But, it's a 50-period love fest right here with JPMorgan, with J&J. So if you like names that start with J and have, three syllables to it, consonants, then you got to get J&J and JPM. There. So both names starting to go. But yeah, I like this. Look how smooth this looks off your 50-period moving average, and that's right where you are right now. Of course, you're going to get some dump-ins over the last couple weeks as all stocks have gone up and down. But I really like Johnson & Johnson here. Just, I have to read why that upgrade happened. But for now, it won't be a trade for today, but I do like it for myself for a longer-term play. So that was one upgrade that I think I like there.
Yeah, and JPMorgan got one, but it's like they didn't really... It gave you the only chance for the dip. We've been talking about somehow how the banks sometimes will give you that little dip after good earnings, but there really wasn't effectively one. Like, I know you'll see, oh yeah, but it pulled into 302. That was at 6:30 on the release, and it was basically back like 15 minutes later, and now it's just going sideways. So maybe it just breaks out JPMorgan and follows some of its brethren to the upside. That said, we already looked at Morgan Stanley reported, and maybe we'll talk about them again. And then don't forget that Citigroup did make a much better breakout, as this is, 3 days running now through highs on Citi. And these are all local highs. Obviously, if you go back far enough in Citigroup, you'll get to like 2008. So you'll see some levels that it's clearly not at all-time highs, but it's somewhat smooth sailing and blue skies for Citigroup. It's far back enough that you have a bit of a gap that this is filling. But I do like JPMorgan a little bit for potential break. I feel like it just. Jamie Dimon seemed to be at least a little bit cautious on the call, and maybe that's part of it, but it's like very, very flat for the last couple sessions. I can't see that really continuing. The banks look strong so far, and I'd like to see some continuation on them. And we got a couple of super chats, and I know there was one that was about GoPro, but there was another super chat And I know Luis said that Snapchat wasn't something that they look at. But Down to Sky asked for thoughts on Snap, and you're saying you were able to build a position under 5, and you're wondering how far to ride it. Technically, I've done when I swing trade almost all the time. I said this yesterday. If it's something that's downward trending, it'll be like a stock that regains the 50 period and then goes to like the 200 period moving average. That's what it was with Snowflake, but that was like a couple of years ago. And then recently with like UNH did that. And I just feel like Snapchat has that same sort of pattern. Like you've got this gap that it's trying to fill back into 7, and you've also got the 200 period moving average, which has been resistance on it. So you have a couple of maybe lines of resistance up there, and the trend looks pretty good. It doesn't really look appealing, to Luis's point, it doesn't look that appealing to a day trade right now because it's under VWAP, barely holding 6, but the daily chart looks pretty good for a turnaround story. And sometimes you just need the right catalyst to get these things going. Part of it also is gonna be that the market made that bounce and it's lifting everything with it. Amari, okay, I didn't sleep that much last night. I'm feeling fine. I went for some drinks with an old friend from the trading floor. I actually got home at a reasonable time, but then the Jays were in a tight game. Yeah, I'm like, I could go to bed, but then it was like, Hoffman blew it in the 9th. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Then they put up
and then we come back, and then it goes into extra innings. So now I'm staying up for the game, and I usually get to bed earlier. So it was a combination of that, and maybe didn't sleep as well as usual. It is what it is.
I'm on 5 hours too, so this will be a really exciting show. So on that note, let's go back over to the desk.
But Catalyst is, I think, pretty exciting here. At the very least, interesting. Snapchat. If you might remember, last hour of the day yesterday during Power Hour, I mentioned I saw a report, really a rumor, suggesting that 50% of jobs were going to be cut by Snapchat. They didn't give us 50, but they did give us about 16% here.
They did, Adara. 16% of the workforce. That's about 1,000 employees. They're also going to be eliminating about 300 open positions. The move, let's be honest about it, is framed as a structural reset to streamline operations and improve efficiency. So what does that mean? So CEO Evan Spiegel emphasized AI is at the core of these layoffs. It is the core driver. I just wonder if he's going to walk this one back, much like Jack Dorsey and Andy Jassy had to, perhaps after some internal pressure. Internal teams, though, are already using AI tools to boost productivity across key areas. We're talking about Snapchat Plus monetization, AI ad platform boosts, as well as Snap Lite infrastructure. The company is expecting about $95 to $130 million in costs tied to these layoffs, as they have to give packages and basically contract terminations. The layoffs are projected, though, to reduce annual costs by about $500 million by the second half of this year. It is a clear pivot, though, towards profitability over growth at all costs as the company matures. And Spiegel described Snap as being in a kind of a crucible moment, signaling urgency in transforming the business model, Adara. So capital and talent are being allocated, or reallocated, I should say, to the highest ROI initiatives. We'll see how this goes.
And Snap's actually not the only beat-up company with a positive catalyst that's pushing higher. The other one I want to mention before the rundown is Nike. NKE actually doing quite well this morning. We've got Elliott Hill's CEO purchasing 23,660 shares. And a couple days before that, we had Tim Cook, who is, of course, the CEO of Apple, but also a director of Nike. He purchased 25,000 shares. So once again, this is the second time since, I think, December where we've seen interestingly coordinated, in terms of timing, purchases from Elliott Hill and another bigwig board member for NKE and or Snapchat. Can these names finally get a bounce, guys?
44.50. Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at Nike. I think I'm going to add this to the sticky note here today. So, yeah, I was just looking at those notes in our quote as well. 130,000 shares now for Tim Cook. Yeah, he's on the board, so okay, that makes a little bit of sense. He's just supporting the company down there. But what about 44.50? I was just sort of looking here at Nike and wondering if that was going to potentially be a spot where we could think about getting some longs right into here. That's 44.20 before this most recent gap up. So 50 period right in here at 44.20. Thinking about if we do continue to dip down, where that next buyers, where they may show up and where some support may come through. So I'm looking at this between 44.50 to 44.20, I believe, for Nike. could be a decent hold. This is a 30-minute chart. So if you're looking at that, you can see a little more clearly here. This just goes back to basically the beginning of the month. There's 44.50 again. So we know this might be one of those names you get that garbage out of here. Obviously, it's not an AI name or anything like that that's really going to spike up. But if this, if the economy doesn't go, into a recession and China can get figured out a little bit, and the Strait of Hormuz opens up, and travel starts happening through there, oil production kicks off again. 44.50 here, not a bad area for support for Nike. I think I'm going to mark that one down there, as we got obviously some good insider buyers.
You don't usually see.
And decent opportunity here for NKE. Just do it. I know I saw that on.
Yeah, I'm not used to. Usually you don't see large order flow on a stock like a Nike. Like, it's only done 900,000 shares, and someone just parked 125K on the offer, like basically right on the offer. Like, this is 2 cents away. Like, it's a legitimate order. I have 100 board lots. I know some traders have we don't, but I know some traders have the absolute share size. Like, that's like 100, so that's why I'm talking about 125,000 shares. It's not 1,000. It's not 1,200 shares. So it's a pretty sizable order. Whether it means anything doesn't matter, but I would say exactly, like, it's a rounded bottom, and I'd probably ease it to closer to 44 just to keep it simple. But there's room till that earnings gap down, like that day one high, to 47.5. Like, it's got this gap that it likes, and it's closer to support than it is to resistance. That looks way more interesting than because for Snap, if you're looking at the same kind of concept, like that move happened for Snap more like yesterday. Like, it was above the prior resistance and broke out. So it's it's just all over the place. A little more structure to that Nike trade than Snap. Either one, you've got to sort of consider where they're coming from, right? Like, when you're talking about, it's one thing to talk about, the day trade and where it can go today. And when you look at Nike go way out here, look at like a 3-month is what I've been pulling out for the stocks that are really bad. Like, Nike just lost like a major support at that 50. So even if it gets back to that 50 level, like, you think that could be a little bit of a problem. It's big support in the higher time frame that just recently got lost in this quarter. Like, this is the quarter that it lost it. If it gets back up to 50, I could think there could be some resistance on the higher time frame. But yep, it looks pretty solid today. I mean, the market's flat, and it has both a catalyst and it's much stronger in the overall market. I think that's what the kind of name you have to look at if we're going to sit here at 000 on the SPY in the NASDAQ every time I turn my head.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting added to the sticky note right now. I'm going to put this out in just a couple of seconds, messaging it to myself, and we will get that out for you soon, as everyone asking, not everyone, people asking for it in the chat. Tesla, ASML has been, I better send this so that I can get going. ASML has been a little bit of a bad morning for them so far. And we're going to talk about all this as we get to the rundown. But it has bounced off that 1450 mark back up to 1480. Just went up $30 right there, ASML. So we'll wait to see if this name continues to get beat up here today. Broadcom also with some good news today. We will be covering all of these names. Make sure you do get the watch list. It's in the rundown. You can get it in the description right now. The watch list gets for free. If you are a member, you can get Shreef's Morning Notes. So there's lots of content for you here today. Joe's already done upgrades and downgrades and options. We had Luis Barbado on as well back at 8:30 for some small cap recaps. But yeah, Broadcom doing well there today as well. What's up to Wendy's, Tendies, and everybody there in the chat? It's glad to see everybody in hell. Let's just do a little quick roll call and bring it back here and see who exactly is there. There's Wendy's, Tendies. How are you doing? There's Mike P. DeRider. Never heard of this guy before. Hope you're doing well. What's up to Rob? MF Dane Generous, thank you for responding to the tweets as well. Tastiest is here. Darwin is here as well. Farhan's here. Sahil's here. Hamster's here. And if everybody just puts like a little bit of a, let's just wave. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today as we get, okay, now we're starting to pick up again. Greystone. Beware the monkey hammer. Okay. What's up, Katina Man? What's up, Jay Keys? Glad you're doing well. There's a Dara. Sorry, good to see Dara there as well. Roger, Green. Bax 200 is in the building as well. Quinton is here. Everybody, Jeremy, Lewis, good to see you guys. Anthony's in the building. Stockhead is here as well. Ralph, good to see you, man. Never seen this member before. Ralph Woodward is there. Options in deep. And this, it looks like Ryan, but it is Ryan O'Day. It looked like Randy there for a minute. Chuck of all trades, we see you a lot. And there's Adam James abroad. He's here as well. So thank you to all the usual suspects hitting our chat right now. You got to hit the like and the subscribe to get involved with that. So yeah, thanks for all the ideas this morning. And we're going to get the sticky note out to you guys very, very soon. And it's going to be a good one. So Broadcom up 2%, Bitcoin trying to go up 74,000. One more time, we bounced off 75 and change yesterday. We'll see if that can get going here. BMNR moving, AMD moving around. Should be a good day. USO and oil right now. Kind of just waiting for some more news. We did hear that some ships were getting allowed through the Strait of Hormuz, but then all of a sudden, you know, as oil does, it just starts to tick back up there. So another volatile day probably in store here for OIH, USO, and the oil contract. As we had Brian on yesterday talking a little bit about oil as well. So.
Oh, and don't forget the metals too. Like we haven't even, how long has it been? And we haven't even talked about the move that you saw in gold and silver yesterday. Although down today, 1%. There's some concerns that you have some foreign governments that are selling their gold positions. Like so many countries were building up big gold reserves, and then with the oil shock right now, you've seen some selling gold. That's putting a little bit of pressure on it when that was getting reported overnight. But if we got down to like 70, it's kind of far away here. But that was a good level yesterday, and it kind of corresponds with this prior high. And you can zoom out a little further, and you can even find some more resistance there. So like the 70 level for SLV could be in play. Amare with the super chat, appreciate you. Wells Fargo. Why?
How do you
why
super
the
chat
one
20 cents? That must be from.
Maybe it's TikTok.
That must be from TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay. It's a gift. It's a gift from TikTok.
Sweet.
It's a bunch of them. We just saw another one.
Oh, good.
From you. We appreciate you. And then it'll just show the last message that you put in the chat there. So the last thing you were talking about was Wells, which is WFC. Unfortunately, this is the one bank that couldn't. The quarter wasn't terrible, but they did miss on the revenue side yesterday. So they did get a little bit beaten up relative to the rest of the group. Like everyone was happy. With the banks, unless you're them, losing the 50, losing the 200. I feel like Citigroup just broke out 52-week highs. Morgan Stanley just had a great report, and it's breaking out. Goldman Sachs had a good report. JPMorgan might be flat, but it had a good report. Like, this is the one name that had something negative to look at, and the market kind of grabbed to it, and it went down. So like for me, it's immediately just process of elimination. That's the one I wouldn't want to buy right now because the market told you. And there's stronger looking banks out there in this particular moment. Like maybe I don't know, maybe you can find yourself short. I haven't really looked at it too deep, but I don't know if you're thinking short. I'm not really thinking anything on it. I just see all the other banks looking much better. Adam James abroad, Hood running on multiple catalysts, including the PDT. Yeah. I mean, you also, the thing about Robinhood is, you just said we're at 74,000 in Bitcoin, right? So we've been bouncing. Bitcoin's been bouncing. Obviously, PDTs, that's a big deal. And they're going to try to probably open a bunch more accounts, and that'll be great for them in the long term. Technically, it's broken the 50 period, so you got a technical breakout happening on Robinhood. The only thing that gives me a little bit of pause is when I sat down, I was like, wow, I looked at the 15 minutes, zoomed it out, even looked at the daily. There was prior resistance around the 82, like 81 and 80. And I like that because it bounced off that level pre-market. So when it's chilling out here, like, oh yeah, dip and rip makes sense. Now we're at 85.5 bucks. Like a dip into that level is a little bit heftier and would require a bit more patience because it would have to almost fall like a rock to get down into that level. It can happen. We've seen those kind of crazy wicks. This is one I want to join, but I'm not chasing it up here at 85. I think there might be some profit takers, and we'll be patient about cash and dip. Patience yesterday, cash in the dip. Like Intel required a lot of it because that really hammered down off the open. Same thing with Hood here for me.
Kick off right here with this rundown. Lots of stocks to talk about. One of them, the aforementioned Robinhood. But Sharif, how are these futures looking?
They're looking great, Adaro. We're flat right now on the SPY, but we are down 0.5% off all-time highs. The all-time high being the high 698s. We closed out yesterday at 694 1/3 on the SPY. we really didn't hold up at all at that 690 level that we spoke about yesterday, which was basically the measured move from the 630 low on that inverse head and shoulder. It really didn't hold up there at all, stop there at all. So we're going to say basically all-time highs. That's going to be our first level of resistance. If we start selling off, maybe something happens in the world of geopolitics, we drop down into that 690 level as supported era.
Lots to discuss, and of course, there's so many stories, we're not going to be able to cover all of them on this rundown, but for the ones that we weren't able to get, you can get them yourself right in your inbox. It is free. It is our Trader TV Live watch list. It comes out every single day the market's open, even if we are not here, as you know, from when we streamed at home that one time after for Black Friday. So again, Trader TV Live watch list. Do not miss it. There's also the Sharif morning note for premium subscribers, so lots of access to Trader TV Live content. And we have to talk about this. We discussed this a lot yesterday as well, but it seems to really be helping Robinhood and Webull today, and that's the SEC's approval of this removing of the PDT, the pattern day trading rule.
Yes, Dara, that was given yesterday. So here's the deal. Let's not get too excited. So now that the SEC has approved the rule, FINRA now has 30 to 60 days to go ahead and implement the notice. So the notice will set the official effective date. That's by FINRA. Historically, changes took about 90 to 180 days to get that official regulation from FINRA. And even when they get it, Robinhood, Webull, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, IBKR, they're not obligated by it. They can still actually keep the $25,000 limit if they feel it's good for their business model. If they don't, they're going to basically look to have a tiered margin system. So sometime before we actually start seeing the product of this, but it's nice to see that they actually got going with it, Adara.
It is indeed nice to see. Certainly if you are long Robinhood or Webull heading into this, what are your guys' thoughts here?
Well, I think regardless of how they, when or how they roll it out, or if some choose to not do it, we had this discussion yesterday. Why would you not choose to do it if eventually FINRA does what they likely will? It's still, even the flexibility is still going to be positive for them. We just, look, I just talked about Robinhood and the technicals there, but I think this is one of those like all systems go. We've known this was coming for a long time, so it's going to happen, and everyone's going to rush to adopt it, and it's going to be great for, I think, more activity in small cap stocks. Well, in all of them. Maybe we'll even get more of an impetus as you get a little bit more active trading, more of an impetus for some of these ridiculously expensive stocks to do some splits, which I think could be true. If you're looking at the other name there, everyone's always trying to pick a bottom. I don't want to say the bottom's in for Webull, but this is at least a catalyst that makes it a little bit more exciting. It doesn't really confirm the 50-period hold until it holds it today. But I feel pretty decent that it's unlikely it loses the 50 period today. It would have to actually get underneath afternoon support. If this loses 570, then this stock has some serious issues. If it can give it all up and go in deep into the red, I'd be surprised. But if this closes above the 50 period moving average, I think this one's got some swing potential to it. And again, it's been an absolute dumpster fire. There's no question. But when it based out at, whoops, I went too far. When it based out at $10, after, again, being a bit of a dumpster fire, it made some nice pops in. It got to like $18 eventually, holding those higher lows, and it resumed the trend down. Now you've got another base that formed around 5, and we're starting to break out of that base. I like it. It's just this one has to show me it can hold. I prefer Robinhood. I own Robinhood shares. I no longer own Webull. Just to get that one out there, kind of obvious in the way that we talk about the stock, I suppose. But for today, Webull does look good.
Yeah, I was just talking about those stocks. I was going to go for another one here. I think one that hasn't really got going, and this is not going to be necessarily a PDT rule thing because SoFi hasn't, isn't that all in, sort of brokerage like some of those other names that we just covered were. But I think back into $18. I mean, should have probably wrote this down on the note as well, back into $18 for SoFi. I mean, if that can come through, I think that's a decent little dip buy opportunity. We sort of were bouncing off of that there yesterday, finally able to break it here today. So the breakout is now on here, I think, for SoFi, just for now. It's just a one-day thing. I mean, if you look at a daily chart, we still have a lot of work to do to get back up, but there's the break right there on your 50-period moving average. So, you know, it's hard to buy stocks when they're falling knives, but now at least you get a little bit of a turn up here in SoFi. It would have been much better to get this long in and around the $15 mark, of course. And this is right where Citron came out with their report right at this area, right at 19.50. We dropped in there into $17 or so that day, battled back the very next day, and then it was just been hit ever since. So you're right back to sort of where Citron levels were, and that was about 19 bucks. So we'll see if that can come out right now and start to beat that one back upside. So I like SoFi down there. I have a bid at 18 bucks if it comes through.
Time to talk about our next story here, and that's going to be Broadcom. On my screen right now, AVGO with a bit of an interesting update here with Meta. Sharif, they're going to be announcing a new deal. It could be actually some changes as well for Meta's board.
Yes, there is. Huck Tan is going to leave the board, Adara. And Meta and Broadcom, they're extending their partnership for custom ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits through 2029. Meta, as part of the deal, is committed to deploying a 1 gigawatt facility initially and then hopefully scaling to multiple gigawatts of compute over time. They're going to be using the MTIA chip, and that is a 2 nanometer process, meaning what? That meaning that it's likely 99% going to come from Taiwan Semiconductor, a corollary play here. The chips are designed for both training and inference, and we've seen custom ASICs really kind of dominate the inference space. But this specific chip is designed to do both, and that is so that Meta can start reducing their reliance on the expensive GPUs that they have to buy from AMD and NVIDIA. Custom ASICs, as we talked about, are cheaper and more efficient, but they're optimized typically for one specific task, meaning that they can't be used for everything. So that is a bit of a drawback there. And Adara, we already know how much Meta wants to spend. They want to spend about $135 billion on AI in 2026. They want to build 31 data centers in 27 states. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, Broadcom already giving back a decent portion of this gap up. Do you think the custom ASIC story is going to move the needle for today?
Sentiment is, like, Broadcom is already up so much. And look, I've already said this yesterday that, you know, when we're looking at, for myself, I was looking between AMD and NVIDIA. Like, NVIDIA from the lows bounced like 16 or 17%, and AMD went 20 something. Well, Broadcom went 23rd, almost over 30% from those lows. So hey, it kind of beat them both from the local bottoms, and it's already in a big breakup. That's the issue with that catalyst today is, well, you're gapping on what's been in just an unbelievably impressive move, and it just feels like this morning, starting with ASML, you started to get some profit taking along the line. So everything's been sliding back in here. I have the eyeballs on NVIDIA because of what it did yesterday on strength in the afternoon, but as long as it's trending down, like, you've got the gap fill to what was pretty obviously consolidation area at 380 few on Broadcom. I think that's what a lot of these stocks look like today. And we mentioned just now, like AMD and NVIDIA. Like, if you come on, AMD. Well, there it goes. I was gonna show the black chart. I'm like, is it gonna load? We were talking about like AMD. Like, that could pull right back into its like prior resistance and breakout price, that big 250 level. And then you've got NVIDIA here, which it's right at the 195. Like, this is the one that could determine things for itself almost right away, I think, on NVIDIA. Like, it was a long consolidation at 95 with a 94. I think I put up 94.4 in my note, but it might be like 94.3. It doesn't really matter. It's like it's just in front of 194. Like, that's the spot. As long as it holds over this afternoon support level where the consolidation break happened, that's where I look for the reversion. And then if it loses this bid, I think you've got a sizable gap that could come in. So I feel like NVIDIA is probably the closest to where the bounce zone is with the open. If that does like that bobbing tail wick, I want to be right in that. Broadcom looks like it's trying to fill the gap as well.
Yeah, I wrote down just an easy play here. I mean, we had, I don't know if it was, I can't remember what was the big one yesterday, but if it was, might have been NVIDIA. Oh, we had the Qs yesterday as well. We had NVIDIA the day before. Down 0.5% here, so weaker today, but we just hit such a great level yesterday to try to take out that 195, and we're kind of just right back into there here. So I actually wrote down on the sticky note today kind of a hero level because I'm not really super excited to like trade this down here at 194.50. Like that was almost a level that I put down, but I think we can get into that. So I actually just wrote down here where we were yesterday. Like I think if we can come back anywhere near 190, I mean this is like the Hail Mary play for me. Wait to see if this market does give back a little bit today. We were just there yesterday. I mean, I don't think we get into this area. So for me, there's a 5-minute chart at 192. I think that'll be something if we do get in. I love the excitement there for NVIDIA, and the fact that it's down, I could see this getting hit down a couple bucks right off the open, and if it does that, then I want to be sitting here right around that 192 area, and then really, if we lose 190, then we can definitely get out of that. But yeah, 192, if we dance around anywhere around there, I really like that level, and we talked about Marvell yesterday with Broadcom going to the upside here, Marvell coming back in. So there's only so many deals you can get. The one with Meta there is a good one, obviously, for Broadcom. So Marvell comes to the downside. Whenever a competitor kind of gets something, this can happen. So we're happy. I mean, we still got a big position on Marvell. We did sell some the other day. We talked about that. But yeah, Marvell's just one of those parabolic movers, kind of like your boy Intel over here, guys. Like this has been, I'm going to go in and start selling some Intel today too, actually. This has been another parabolic mover. So yeah, it's nice to see accounts at all-time highs, but this is part of the reason why, and could easily fall back in here, Intel. I mean, a lot of these companies got some great deals. Tesla here, Apple here with Intel, and then the U.S. government backed as well. So maybe you don't get out of Intel until it breaks 62 or so right there, but we're getting ready to do that. So watch out for that shelf here on Intel in and around $62. If the market really does give it up, we could see a move back into that area too. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to look at some of these tech names today, especially with that news from Broadcom sort of helping it all out. And then ASML almost back to flat again, just down 2% over there.
Time to talk here about TSLA. We've got some news here on the AI5 chip and actually some teasing from Elon Musk. We could have even more in the works or underway. What's the look
That's
here?
right, Adara. We got the AI6 and the Dojo 3 coming up, but before that, we got to get the AI5 in production, and that's not going to start, guys, until mid-2027, volume production. But they're tapped out now, so this is an AI5 chip, and that doesn't typically mean what we think it means. It means basically that the design phase is over for the AI5, and now that moves into volume production, again, slated to start next year. Tesla is crediting Samsung Electronics as well as Taiwan Semiconductor for supporting production, highlighting, of course, the reliance that they have on those companies, hence why Elon Musk announced the Terafab so that they become more vertically integrated as the company is typically used to being. They did sign a $16.5 billion manufacturing deal with Samsung, and I believe the majority of the AI5 chips will be produced by them.
And if you want to see what the AI5 chip looks like, I do have it up on my screen. This is from the Elon Musk post, in which he actually made this announcement, again, along with the AI6 and Dojo 3. But yeah, here's the chip. It does have the little Tesla logo in the corner. How do you guys feel about this chip and the catalyst for the stock?
Well, I think it's catalyst for the stock. I mean, look, this is not something that is particularly new for Tesla, nor do I think it's like the big time driver. But what can be happening is ever since the highs, like this has been just trend down, trend down. It's been in a bit of a malaise as the market's going to highs. You could make some kind of argument that people have been maybe trimming some Tesla because they're getting ready for SpaceX, or I don't know, maybe it's a valuation thing. To me, it almost doesn't matter. It bounced off the bottom of the trend line and is trying to take out the top here. I think it's got like a little bit room for like one more day to get into that high. It's about the mid 70s to 80 level, where you start thinking about it getting to that trend level high when it zooms. Yeah, there you go. Like that gap fill. So there's still some room. I just feel like anything is more dip buy than anything today. So it's 361 was what I have written down. Like you've got a close and then a support shelf that broke, and then that ended up holding at that 61 on a pullback. So that's the level I'm watching today here on Tesla. There's been a lot of questions about the bird is the word, Allbirds. I still have a pair of those Allbirds. The weather's getting nice. I guess I can start wearing them again. Mm-hmm. It's more of like, it's a summer shoe, man. Like they're very like light. If I have the one knock on them, it's that they're so comfortable like slippers. But it also means that like I'm never wearing them when it's like raining or if I gotta like hike or whatnot.
Right.
Like it's more of like a casual like city shoe. whatever. I like them. I enjoy them. Not that it matters for the stock. This is like pure squeeze play happening on Bird. There's no big levels to look at on Allbirds until you get to like 85 to 90. Ooh, it looks like we just wicked the $7 level again. It's having some trouble with $7 here. But if you look at the daily chart, there's still some room in it till the bag hold levels.
I have Tesla written down here as the #1 play for me today. So those of you, thank you for the super chats regarding this sticky note. It is now out, of course. We can tweet this out for you. I mean, we can do that right now. Let's just go tweet, copy, put it out there. 364 long, back into yesterday's closing area with this fresh chip development. I like it. Positive roadmap for robotics and autonomous driving. Watching for this continuation higher. I mean, it's exactly what we wrote down onto here. So we'll see if it can keep going. But it's Tesla right now on my mind, and it's 364. So that's right into yesterday's closing price. Let's see if we can hold into there. This was just an early idea. You know, we're trying to do what we do every day on Tesla, and that is let it settle down a little bit off the open and see how it gets pretty choppy right there. But at the end of the day, you could definitely find some support areas. There's your 200 period moving average. Right now, the 200 period moving average is sitting at 66. So we're already pretty aggressive. That's going to be too early for me, so I'm going to wait down into here, 364, yesterday's closing zones for TSLA. I mean, you know, a lot of these names have been beat up. So, you know, you're starting to make a move back higher there. This isn't necessarily like the be-all, end-all of a story, but it's nice that they got that other chip design done. Now they're going to get that fab going with Broadcom, and we will now wait to see what happens next for Tesla. I mean, the autonomous story is still there. That's the big one. The robotic story is what we're waiting for. And when that happens and we get a release of these robots and then we all fear for our lives, that's when Tesla moons and gets back up to all-time highs again. So I still like this Tesla call, but for today, a day trade, we're gonna start to look for some dip buy opportunities as I log into my broker account and put some sells for Intel.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot of these banks not having maybe the best earnings reactions. JPMorgan did basically nothing all day, but Morgan Stanley and BAC with some reports that are very, very well received by the market. Can we get into these numbers?
Yeah, Dara, they're both green on the morning, which is good. So let's cover Morgan here. It's up a little bit more. EPS, $3.43, easily beating the $3 per share, of course. Expected by analysts, revenue coming in a little bit more than $20.5 billion. The street was looking for a little bit less than $19.75 billion, so an easy beat on the top and bottom line there. And guess what, guys? Unlike Goldman Sachs, now we've gotten yesterday JPMorgan, we're getting Morgan Stanley today. Their trading desk, their fixed section, fixed income, commodities, and currency did very well. They generated $1 billion more in revenue than the street was looking for as a result of volatile markets. But that volatility, that same volatility, may now pressure their wealth management and their fee generation revenue. So we'll have to see whether or not, you know, this volatility does well on one side of the equation. Does it continue to do well on the other? Last thing here, the key question is, can elevated trading revenues persist, or does the performance normalize as the volatility subsides, Adara?
Yeah, well, we'll have to find out. Either way, we now have all of the major Q1 2026 bank earnings. So here's a look kind of how they all fared in revenue. Of course, JPMorgan, highest revenue and highest net income. We have to give Morgan Stanley some credit here because that return on tangible common equity, or ROTCE, great look here for MS. This infographic out soon on XATTV Research. But bank earnings are done now, guys, at least for the major banks. What are your thoughts on these final two?
Well, I mean, I like Morgan Stanley the best. They did the best. If it was, we actually had this conversation yesterday. Like, the banks are the one place where I don't think I've ever really, unless it was a Canadian bank, it was TD Bank is in my personal account, the only one I've ever trimmed. I've never really sold. It's usually look for places to buy. If I considered the dip on this a swing trade, then I think it would make some sense to bank some profit. But that's, you know, like, let it run into the highs. It's incredibly strong. If you look at this on like the higher time frame, like, it's almost silly. 3-month chart's almost silly to look at. If you look at it on the monthly, like, it's already given you an extended move going into this. But when you look at the dips on the higher time frame, extreme and quick dips tend to be really good on the banks. So I adhere to the whole, if the world isn't falling apart, then you can usually rush in on these monthly dips on the banks, especially if you find, especially the good ones, obviously. Not the same thing with regionals. But yeah, nothing too crazy is happening here. And if something does shift in the global economy, that's a different story. For now, all systems go. Happy with Morgan. Just heard CoreWeave's making some fresh highs. beast. Where was CoreWeave when we brought that story first? 115, 114, I think. Now $120. CoreWeave's going for a bit of a jaunt here, so another breakout play is CoreWeave. But yeah, love Morgan Stanley. CoreWeave is now letting it fly big time.
Yeah, I mean, you could, there's two ways of doing it. I would rather buy strong names than wait for bottoms on weak names. But yesterday, their WFC has sort of just gone back and forth here. Not quite into the doldrums of the 70s yet, but down 7% yesterday. Wells Fargo, just looking, again, you know, it's not the strongest name out there, but it does have a level that you can wait for. I mean, the 74 to 75 area right back into here seems to be a decent dip buy opportunity, but it's just, it's much choppier than a lot of those other banks. I mean, a lot of them fell back in, but then the clean move back up is in touch for what I think is a name that eventually gets into that mid-70 range, Wells Fargo. If the banks slip up a little bit, this will be the one that gets hit the most. I already looked at SoFi. I have another bid to buy more shares on SoFi at $18. But yeah, look at how good Citigroup looks. Boom, right there to the upside on their earnings report. They take out that all-time high there of 125 and continue to climb up. So watch out for Citigroup. It might not be all-time high. It was they got crushed and then recapitalized and everything during the housing crisis. Citigroup was $1 or something like that back then. So now $130 Citigroup. What a good investment some of those banks would have been. As long as you weren't in Lehman Brothers or Bear Stearns, you probably did okay back then. Bank of America was $4 or $5 where Warren Buffett pulled the trigger from his bathtub that day. Okay, so here's SoFi right here. $18 is what I'm looking at, if we can come back into that. A name that I did not put on the list, but I like this. I'm actually sitting in the long-term account to get some more right into here, $18. You've now broken through. It's that 50-period moving average, finally starting to retrace back upside a little bit. We didn't get to, well, we've already talked about Robinhood and all that. That'll be, you know, the more exciting trade today. But I think SoFi has something to say right now in a potential move to the back end, especially if rates are going to remain where they are, if not go lower. SoFi has a big lending program, right? So if that can get going more favorable, then SoFi should benefit from that. So looking to pick up some more SoFi there. I told you I'm selling some Intel, sold some Marvell yesterday, try to get some, you know, high quality names like a SoFi that I believe is, and we'll get some money into that name at these depressed values. Sell at highs, buy at lows. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just not very good at it. All right, ASML, what's that report all about?
Yeah, we have to talk here about this ASML earnings report because first kind of major tech name of this season, if you put it that way, we'll get TSM tomorrow and then Netflix after the bell tomorrow, but looks like a double beat here for ASML, Sharif.
Yeah, it was a good beat, Adara. They did raise guidance, but there are two things that I want to point out that are not good that we need to be concerned about. So we know that they beat, that's fine. The first thing is, their longer-term look, they were projecting that they were going to deliver about 80 extreme ultraviolet lithography machines. That now, they're going to deliver about 80. They had previously guided about 90. So a little bit of a tempered expectation there. Secondly, China exposure is continuing to decline. Number one, their system sales dropped from 36% of total sales last time down to 19% this time. In addition to that, there could be more U.S. legislation which would restrict the just deep ultraviolet, not even the extreme sales to China. That would also be a bit of a headwind. So two things to keep an eye out there. And then obviously they are the bottleneck for chip design as their machines make these wafers are what they are. But because they are a monopoly, they're always susceptible to that headline risk should somebody else enter this space, Adara.
Yeah, I know ASML, even with that guidance raise, I saw it maybe missed estimates a little bit there. So another thing to keep in mind there for ASML, struggling with 1,500. What's the look?
The other thing to keep in mind too is like ASML, if you compare them to KLA, if you compare them to AMAT, if you compare them to Lam as well, you're talking those are like, they're all expensive, like 35 to 40 PEs, and then these guys, their 4 was 44, so with a beat, it'll still be above 40. They're just a little bit more expensive than their competitors. And all the contemporaries, they don't really have competitors. That's the issue. Like they're very unique and have a monopoly in what they do. But if you're looking at the closest comparables, they are a little bit expensive. So what happens in this environment when you've already run so heavily into a triple top? You get some profit taking. And I think the profit taking that you saw already, looks like a lot of it's been evaporated. The concern I would have for some of the other chip names, like whether you're looking at NVIDIA or AMD or maybe, doesn't really matter, but anything in the space, is if we head back down to the low, if we get all the way to the bottom, if it starts breaking down underneath VWAP and there's enough weakness there, then it'll cause me to be a bit more patient, because this is the real leading indicator that we have right now is ASML. And it did go right back into the gap and starting to head lower. So I can see some dip buying coming in off of the open. We still have about 6 or 7 minutes to go, but as this starts to ease back down, the Qs aren't really doing too much, but I just saw NVIDIA kind of take the VWAP and pull back in there. And then AMD, actually AMD's a little bit stronger, so AMD's bucking the trend, but NVIDIA's pulling back a little bit with this ASML. I just think you were priced a little expensive and got to a triple top. Right to be, I suppose, concern wouldn't be the word, but I wouldn't be buying at a pure ASML.
The only name that I have on that whole rundown that I'm looking to do anything with is Tesla. So I'm not looking to do anything with ASML. ASML won't even be traded on the show today, but good talk there, ASML. SMR here, this will be traded, I'm thinking anyways. It's up 5% here today. It's on my sticky note. So I'm waiting for it to come back into yesterday's closing price. It's just what a wild morning it had. I feel like if we can have almost the same thing but the other way around today, let this name fall back in a couple percentage points, and then we can try to buy some SMR down here around 1040. This might be very short-lived. I was just looking at, we did have some bounce areas there a little bit yesterday for ASML, was up 5%. I do feel like the market will play down a little bit to start. So any sort of a level here looks decent for me on SMR, so new scale. So we'll see if that can get going. Yesterday, a little bit of an increase there as the whole market got bumped a bit. And then we got some reports out of London that they were helping support the Rolls-Royce formation of their nuclear SMRs. So that's going to be something there for SMR, and the whole space got a little bit of a boost yesterday. You can check out Oklo and other names. So we'll just look at SMR and see if that wants to come back into that 1040. I'm already bidding there. If it comes in, we'll talk about it, and hopefully that will hit as we get a little bit of uptick here in the space. So I mean, got to support it. And then the other name that we did talk about, before the rundown, that was Nike. So I'm actually sitting here on Nike, and I think I did a decent job of showing you guys where and why I like this. We got Elliott Hill and Tim Cook in here buying some Nike. And I was looking at this level, man. I mean, if we could fall back in, look, it's going to take about 80 cents to get back into here, but 44.50, like I said, I am going to be patient here today, wait to see if Nike can come back into this area where we can pick up some dip buys. Don't necessarily think we need to shoot the moon here, but that's not a bad area either, breaking through this 45, 46 area there on NKE, now on a 30-minute chart. That's how that looks. And then the other play was NVIDIA, which is also not on the board. But we did talk about it with a little bit of the chip names there. This is one that, yesterday was such a great long, really respected. There's that initial move, but look at this, whoosh down. Huge move up again, whoosh back down. So we got to have this on our radar. We really nailed it the other day. Shout out to Adam DeLuz because we took it. It was either right on this pullback or right, I think it might have been right into there. It was right here. That pulled right back into VWAP at that time. And then we just ran that to the long side. And it was a great one. So if we could do something like that today with NVIDIA, that's what we're looking for. I wrote down 190 as like, if we ever get back into yesterday's levels. It was 192 or so for a potential dip buy, wherever 192 is, right into here. But I don't, NVIDIA may not dip. So what we'll have to do is wait for those choppy back and forth sort of pullback situation. Oh, you got the imbalance locator. You might as well go to Neil's.
There.
Mine doesn't have the symbols up, but...
Yeah, I was just going to say, we have like IonQ. Look, Quantum moved yesterday, so that can definitely be in play. IonQ with a 730 buy and balance. We talked about Snapchat already. They're not letting go to 50% of their workforce like the rumor was yesterday. It's just 1/6. You got QBTS is also a buy and balance of 470,000. SMR, which was just mentioned, 340,000 shares. Only real Mag 7 name, Microsoft, 200K. That's also buy side. Nike, a couple 100,000 shares buy side. Oracle, a little bit to the buy side. Almost all early buy imbalances on the locator. There is one name that I guess we didn't talk about the space name, but yesterday, if you remember, it's like, well, why was ACE Astis down so much? Well, the Amazon GSAT Global Star deal does provide a huge competitor for them, and then a potential area or potential client that they might not now get. So this is one where, unfortunately for them, they got rinsed on the good news for Globalstar. I just like some of the reversion that this did when it bounced up into 95. I'm looking for a similar thing, like first at like around that 90 to 91 where it put in that high. But then even if it breaks that, I'm just looking for any pop trend break, because ASTS, it kind of lost this shelf here at the 91 level after a fail of $100. So looking for some continuation. And look, the space names have been running, and I know a lot of them have been really strong, but specifically they were weak because of that GSAT deal. Globalstar probably not even doing anything today, but they got that. Well, it was a $90 deal, but it's also potentially Amazon shares. That's why it's not all that tradable. Trading at $80, you can actually pick it up at. So that's one of the names I'm watching. The other thing to keep in mind is there was some relative weakness in crypto yesterday. Almost all day long, iBit was trending down into the NASDAQ, which was only going in the other direction. I prefer BMNR because that was the weakest, but I'm looking for a chance to be able to fade some of these up top. And BMNR was by far the weakest because ETH was weaker than Bitcoin. It's just not close to any of the key price levels, like the 22.4 or the 22.10. So it'll be patience if we get strong enough in the markets, but I have the site set and I've already paid for the locate on BMNR, locked and loaded, ready to go there. So it's hump day, it's market, well, at least we're not at zeros. It's 0.1% to the upside, so up is good. Last I checked, ASML disappointed by price action, but not by their earnings. And let's ring it right about now.
All right, welcome everybody. U.S. markets are now open. We're into something right there. We got Tesla. So here we go, man. We are now long on Tesla. Tesla immediately down on that trade. It does come into the 260. That was small. We're not going to sit here and get run over. We talked about that. So we'll wait to see what happens with Tesla there. We like the 364 area of yesterday's closing price. So into it really, really small there on Tesla. We'll see if we can take $1 though out of something if we can. Take out 10% there on Tesla. That was the first name that hit. There it is. It's already right there, Neil. We're already a dollar club in right there on Tesla. And again, it's just exactly what we write down here, man. It's 364 long. So came in, we sat there. Like, I wasn't super nervous about today, so that's why we sit there and actually take that fill. Normally we don't sit around and do that. So take a little bit out. Let's take another piece out right here as well. As we have a long day ahead of us, 30 seconds in right there for Tesla. So a quick little dollar out, but we could still wind up losing. And where are we going to get out of this now? Looking at the downside, I mean, 62s is where we just sort of dropped out into. So we could definitely have a look quickly there. But it's a dollar club early. And hey, man, we're doing it again. This is my last day here. Got to have Joe in the seat for the next week after this. So there's your dollar club winner to start the day. And I hope some of you have that. And we'll just see where it goes from here. It's Tesla right now and looking pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know what's not looking good? Oil at the lows, Robinhood pulling back, iBit dying. The thing that did not dip, however, was NVIDIA. NVIDIA is now taking out it's not all-time highs, local highs here at 197. Sometimes you get picked up, sometimes you don't. This time, we did have the orders out. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to have to change target on ASTS. ASTS basically just, that's just a nickname for the stock. It just blew down like $4 here on ASTS. So continuing to sell off after that Globalstar. We'll look to see if it can close these underneath the prior low. So still looking for weakness there. Bitcoin already going to the downside, but it is NVIDIA which is churning. I don't want to chase that. AMD's a bit far. What's Intel doing here? Maybe we're being led by the chips as usual. Of course we are. And of course Intel tagged $65. Intel had a lot of sellers at 65.5. This would be a reversion trade if it gets to 65.5. I didn't think we were going to get to that price, but I have to respect that we could. And looking for some weakness in crypto, Bitcoin already moving down. I'm choosing BMNR. And once it gets some kind of a pop into VWAP, if it's not pop and fade, then it's short VWAP is always a play for myself. Market's still at the exact same place it was before. But looks like everything's heading in the right direction, at least for myself, but just didn't get picked up on that bid. Sometimes you put the bid out there, and it doesn't want to fill you.
Yeah, sometimes, pretty much all the time there. Yesterday we had something similar to this example on Tesla where we got missed. We had 354.25 yesterday, or somebody went to 355 and change, and then it just took up like 10 bucks. We'll see if Tesla can do something similar there today. We just took $2 on this trade, so we'll do a little bit of a floss. So let's just go over here and see what happens with SMR now. I guess no sleep, no problem so far. But we're not out of everything. I'm going to get one more piece out there so we can hold half of this Tesla trade. Yeah, SMR, we did write down 1040 there as a potential dip buy opportunity. It doesn't happen right now for Sam Michael Robert there on SMR. We'll have to see if that does wind up dipping down in there. So it's a good thing we took out another piece there on Tesla. Like, it went $2. We're out. I'm going to be taking one more piece here if we can. I don't want to get out of it all in case there is a rip today, but if I think that today is going to be relatively slower, you know, we should take advantage of these kind of moves higher. Like, we just ticked into sort of pre-market highs one more time there from 4 a.m. Europe when that starts to get going. Right there, 26,000 as that top for the NQ. So something to look at here as a potential fade out. And like I said, if we're not expecting too much today, might not be a horrible opportunity to take a little bit out here on TSLA. The other idea, SMR, we talked about that. And then Nike, I like the long over there in Nike. And oh, here we go. Here's an example of just missing our bid right there. This should be a 50-cent winner, but we were at 44.60s. It went to 44.70s. So just one more example there. And then there's the same dollar, but we took it again on Tesla. So $2 winner on Tesla, $1 winner on Tesla. And the only position so far here today has been Tesla. You weren't. Oh, you're in BMNR. No, you're not in BMNR.
No, well, I have an offer on BMNR, but we haven't got picked up. This one is still continuing to fall. It's just looking incredibly weak. NVIDIA is still, it's way gone. It just tagged 198 and a half. So this one is an absolute rocket ship. I'm glad that it's outpacing.
Let's go.
Glad it's outpacing AMD a bit, but AMD has already given up its move. It's already given up the entirety of the open move there. On advanced micro devices. So I do think NVIDIA is the right place to go. Just checking on Robinhood. Robinhood tagged that 82 level. It hasn't really confirmed the close above. Bitcoin's going to break. I'm not going to be able to get BMNR, I don't think. I might just have to look at Bitcoin because I'm not chasing that BMNR move. So if I can get the weakness in crypto reflected in Bitcoin, then I'll look for this breakdown underneath the volume weighted average price. So if we break VWAP here at 42 even, then I'll be short that. Would have preferred BMNR, but you know, you take what you can get and you will not be upset. So just putting a stop order or a conditional order, I guess, a conditional order for the breakdown in Bitcoin. And that's if it goes. If it doesn't break, then I'm not in it. Still going to be waiting for that BMNR trade. And wow, Weewa. Oracle? I guess the bottom is in. The bottom is in on Oracle, man. No doubt about it. All right. Another 4% off the open for Oracle. You gotta be kidding me. Did not pull the trigger on that one for a swing trade because I'm still waiting for that PayPal. PayPal hasn't done it yet. But NVIDIA, we'll look for VWAP here. 95 is not going to be a thing anymore. I can't say that I got missed by like 20 cents or anything. I probably missed that bid by about 40 or 50 if we're being real. So if we can hold VWAP, it hasn't retested it. That'll be the first place I look that isn't in the crypto space. Bitcoin's still holding for 42. iBit holding that 42. BMNR still at the lows. ASTS, way too rinsed, and I'm not chasing that move down.
Okay. Nothing to see over here, just usual trading. I don't know. All right, so Google making it, we only have, I mean, this speaks for itself. And you know, this is why, I guess, you know, if you guys are looking, the only trade that's hit so far, it's right here on the sticky note. It's the #1 trade on the note. It's 364 Tesla long. And that one so far. We'll see what happens if it flushes down or not. You can see I was writing in here, Google. Wow, man, we talked about this whole like you know, I got like the least amount of sleep probably I've had in a hell of a long time, but you know, it doesn't change anything for me. Nice upside play there. I mean, obviously the energy's a little bit low, but the energy's high here on this stock. As there it goes, man. This is a day trading show, and we've got this one. There it is right there. There's $2.50 we just get printed right there. So pound alarm right now on that trade. And Joe was asking me, you know, how can one become a successful trader and you know, hit some certain levels. Joe's looking to level up his game. And I said, honestly, man, it's try to find those good ideas, get consistent, and then up your shares, man. That's, you're here on prop. We talk about that all the time. We literally read ads that say, you know, what we are here for on a prop floor is to, you know, use other people's capital, not risk your own, and take these levels to the next level. So I want to thank Joe for asking that, and I hope that most of you guys are doing that there. But there it is, man, one trade. Like I said, what's up to JKL and everybody else that, you know, hits their goals and is done in 10 minutes. I mean, there goes Tesla right there. I'm looking for other names. I mean, for sure, you could see that now Neil's in too short, so we can go over and check those out. But I was thinking Google too, maybe. They broke through that pre-market low. Or sorry, yesterday's, that's not the pre-market. This is yesterday's at 3 p.m. So maybe something here, Google a little weaker than the rest. So we could potentially see a continuation lower on Google. But again, for me to get short on this name, we got to be pretty specific, because since we've locked in, you know, just to say something that kids are saying here, we really haven't missed a beat, man, in the last little while. So we're just going to stay focused on that. Right now it's $3 in the money now, Tesla. I mean, we had some big, the TQQ trade, you know, that we put on yesterday, just for an example. I mean, just to show you guys examples of locking in, right? I mean, when you get specific trades on, part of it is to maybe watch these things. That Apple trade turned out to be a beast. Like that made a huge move down yesterday as well. Here's our TQQ early position right there at 10 o'clock. That was at 51.70, and where that, I mean, it turned out to be the, you know, our thing of the day on VWAP, that went at least $2, $3, $4. This was even at noon, and the market closed at highs. So part of it is like being very specific with your entries and letting something develop, right? And so we've done that already with Tesla, but anything can turn around, especially on a little bit of a slower market. So with that being said, let me just put out one more piece here. There we go. We get a 40 fill on Tesla because we're at the 50-period moving average. So if we're going to go from the low of the day, basically right there, obviously it got lower, right into there, into the 50-period, above VWAP, above the 25. This is why we have plans of action, and this is why you execute your trades, right? I'm going to take out one more thing here at 377. That's your $3 winner to start the day. So Neil with two shorts. We'll talk about those when we get back from Adara.
USO, keep an eye on oil. Getting some comments here. Again, this is just being reported by state media, but apparently the Pakistani negotiation team has traveled to Iran to deliver a message from the U.S. and discuss the potential of a second round of talks and when the timing of said talks might be. If I get more details, I'll let you know at 10 a.m. So in 20 minutes from now, we get the NAHB Housing Market Index. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Did say that iBit was going to be the under VWAP play with the relative weakness it had yesterday because we didn't get that BMNR. Well, BMNR is catching a bit of a bid. I'm just going to cancel my order. It could be VWAP that it holds. If I pivot away from iBit, it will be back into BMNR. But when that breakdown happened, we give it to the prior bar. And I like the comment about like locked in. I think one of the ways of being locked in is to just don't get a fill or whatever. Just go back to your standard setup. Yeah, exactly. If you like weakness, it broke the trend, it broke the volume weighted average price. We take the breakdown, give it to the prior bar, play it into the low. AST Space Mobile. That's the only time I'm not going to say Astis, everybody. Again, just right back, goes into the prior day low, which is also the volume weighted average price, short it, give it to the prior bar. So basically the same setup twice. I'm just looking up to see where Intel is at. Remember, Intel got to that, oh, never mind. All right, no, forget it. Intel already flushed. Intel did not retest up to 65.5 for any kind of a reversion. Got to 65, and that was all she wrote. It's right back in at the lows. Market's at the high of the day, and Intel is at the lows. And same thing with AMD as it was starting to come back in. So yeah, just the two shorts for now. Robinhood was the other name off of the open we're looking for. It seems to want to snap back off of that 82 level. Hasn't really held on to VWAP. This is looking bearish too. On Robinhood, topping tail to volume weighted average price. Hold of a VWAP, and then we can get maybe along in this Robinhood trade because it also tried to fill in a bit of that gap. So lots to watch. I know some people looking at those quantum names. I haven't had eyeballs on INQ and Rigetti. They weren't on my list. They were both buy imbalances, I do believe, or maybe it was QBTS, and they're both looking pretty strong. INQ's now up 11% and pretty short Rigetti as well. So far, so good. We'll see what this iBit wants to do, and hopefully we can catch a little bit of BMR, or at least pivot to BMR is the plan of action for myself. I just think that'll be a little bit weaker. BMNR, not BMR.
BMNR. We still got to find out what that We still got to find out what that IPO was there yesterday.
It was Dara corrected it to me in the chat. I have to double check. Okay. No, but we got corrected. It was like someone was saying NCI something, but it was NIC something.
So I go back to my initial point. We still need to figure out what that IPO is. So let us know, guys.
It's a big one tomorrow.
If you can find out what it is in the chat, let me know. There, look, really glad to be kicking out this here on Tesla as we just sit back and relax. Bird, okay, let's go over and have a quick look at Bird. I'm waiting at 368, man, to get this $4 here on Tesla. And again, as we were just talking about getting locked in, I think that's 100% correct what Neil said, is that if levels aren't hitting, man, you don't have to jump in. And like I said, that's something that's really changed for me. And I hope you can see sort of, again, like it's a trading show, so I hope you guys can see the results of trades, and you can always ask us how it's going. And we have obviously no problem talking about that. Lucky me, man, I got to fill 64.75 on Intel there. So sometimes you get lucky on your own personal account. So we just get that fill, got the notification there. And I said, what, Intel's running? And then I thought it was, and then Neil mentioned that it wasn't. So lucky, very, very lucky.
It was. It just
no, I know. I was like, that's why when you mentioned it, I was like, okay, because when I got filled, I was like, oh God, there we go again. I got filled, and finally something actually worked out for me. Yesterday we actually did pretty good and got filled on Marvell. I don't know what Marvell. Okay, 133. So it's right back up again. So there you go. So we make a little bit of money on the Intel sell, and yesterday on the Marvell sell looks to be a little worse for the wear. But yeah, like this trade can hold the day for me all day right now. We only have left 40% left on this trade. It is having a problem here in and around 367. I mean, I could take another out. Let's take an out right here. Okay, there it is. We'll take it out at 30s, the highest level we've ever gotten yet. I'm still waiting at 368, that high. So here we go again. Hopefully we can get that right now. And then it will be your $4 winner to start off with. There it is. That's $4 to start the day. So, we'll just continue to chill and hang out and, watch a little bit of this here go through. So that is it, MF Dane Generous. That's your bang there for me, and we'll look for some more. I mean, like I said, SMR, we were waiting for that one to do something, so we'll have that on our radar. Maybe a pullback into 1090, something like that. The 50 period, the pre-market high could be looked at. We said Google maybe on a short there. That's already kind of broken through those pre-market levels that we looked at, but I still think there's something here for Google. I don't really want to short it. I mean, I think there's a strong name. I like Google here. Great movement. Last 9 days, absolutely hot fire for Google, but it is a little underneath right now, so that could be that short. But hey, man, we are just like, we couldn't be really, hey, you're welcome. Let's start getting some of these nice comments there in the chat, man. What's up to Solar Tech here today? A bunch of thumbs up and everything. So, you're welcome to all that. Thanks for your help there today as well. It is a pretty weak open there. I'm not going to put, thank you so much. We only have one GOAT here, and that's going to be Brendan. So we shout out to Brendan, but I'll take the call there as well. So, shout out to everybody that's in the chat, man. I mean, everyone's doing their own thing. Yeah, you're right about this one. No sleep, no worries. I did get 5 hours or so, but no sleep, no worries there. You always want to feel better. What's up, T-Money as well there? Oh, thank you so much, Randy. We're just talking about lack of sleep, but it's a $4 winner on Tesla, looking sharp there with your new. Yeah, do you smell brisket? My bad. That was I had that for dinner last night, if you know what I'm saying. No, we had tuna last night. Tuna
melt. Baby.
Tuna melts. Oh man, those were so good. We've never really had.
The funny thing is, the second you said it, I'm like, for sure it was a melt. It was a delish.
Yeah, we. Oh no, Neil must have got a fill on something there. Position board is now gone.
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Okay, well, it just randomly disappeared. Andre.
Well, I got a fill a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
No, so. But it was good. No.
Anyways, I'm still long. Well, once we get another fill, it'll show back up.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We got tagged down in front of 86. Ooh, did it break? Did it break? I'm not gonna wait for it to break. I'm just gonna get out. Oh, I don't want to be long. Get out. And hold. Come on, Phil. Come on, Phils. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to be out of ASTS. If you get in accidental position, just jump right out of it. Because I did get in. I don't know why it's saying short. I am flat on ASTS.
Yeah,
we got 86.1. No, it's right now.
Is it? Okay.
So we got the 86.1, but I did not want that reverse. So I'm going to jump out. If it closes under VWAP, then I can re-engage that short. iBit tagged LOD and is coming back up to VWAP. The only thing that might make me not take this trade is I did prefer BM&R, and BM&R is also coming into the volume weighted average price. So instead of reloading iBit, if we get a topping tail candle here, I'll just elect to get into the stock that I wanted, or I guess the instrument that I wanted first, which is going to be BM&R. And as far as Robinhood goes, it's still really just looking at the same names. Hood is now holding VWAP. It's got a decent trend up, showing some strength in Robinhood. Wanted to see this one hold. Someone's asking where I think the dip buy is in Robinhood. I'm like, well, if it doesn't fill in the entire, if it doesn't lose the gap, I want it to hold VWAP. I know it would have rhymed if I said VWAP, but it's VWAP. So it just broke VWAP to the upside. Now I want to look for that bounce to continue trend here on Robinhood. Really not get BM&R again? Bitcoin's already right back at the low LOD, and I didn't get filled on BM&R. Crypto's weak, very, very weak. Which is that's another thing I like about actually Robinhood here, is it's holding its gains much better than crypto. And I know it's a PDT story, but you do have to remember, Robinhood typically is gonna move with the crypto markets. So the fact that we're kind of chilling out here on the lows on iBit while Robinhood's going higher lows, that's a good sign. I always want to make sure you're long things that are going to be relatively strong. You don't want to fight the trend. I find when we talk about being locked in, there's only specific setups I like fighting the trend. It has to be at a major support level, or it has to be a mean reversion trade. Like that's the thing that's made this a good start to the year. Although I guess it's been a quarter in.
Yeah, I love all this. I love all this locked in talk, guys. So there it is, $5 now on Tesla. So we talked about books he likes to read. One Good Trade. That's one book that I read. Pretty much the only book, trading book I did read. That one that I really like, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. That was another one up in there. All right, SMR is testing 12. What's up, Midwest Strong? I mean, wow. Wow, okay. SMR was another one of the names that was on your boy's radar, and this is another one. We talked about missing some levels. I'm bidding $10.44, gets into $10.68 there, and then it just rips upside. We were looking at SMR this morning when this name was only up 5%, and I remember talking about it, and then, because some people were like, well, why does this guy have SMR as the second best idea today? And I tried to talk about some levels that I liked. I didn't like it enough to really get super aggressive with it, but it is what it is there with SMR. We can have a quick look back at Nike. Nike had Tim Cook and your boy Elliott Hill step in and buy a couple 100,000 shares each. And that name, again, like that came, like there's our 44.50 marker there, and it gets into 44.70 again. So we do miss that one for the long, but like we said, you're not going to get filled on everything. And all you're trying to do is have your winners essentially outpace your losers. And today we only have one trade, so we could give it all back. We're just looking for another one right now, but it's Tesla. Look at that, man. We get a 370 fill right there. So 364 to 370, that's $6. So, pretty happy with the way that's been performing so far here today. Hope you're all enjoying it. It's Adara time. Speaking about enjoying, we're going to go over and see what Adara's got on her. Oh, there goes Tesla right there, 370 again. Just took out those highs. So, oh boy, we're rocking and rolling here today.
Another minute, another headline about negotiations with the U.S. and Iran. Latest headline I'm seeing here is reported by the Wall Street Journal. The U.S. and Iran have agreed in principle to meet, but they have not decided on a date or location. Now, we know President Trump earlier this week was saying that they could meet within 2 days. Again, as of right now, bit hard to discern if that is the case because it looks like they're still kind of trying to decide on a lot of key details. Furthermore, apparently Iran and China's foreign ministers are discussing the Iran-U.S. talks within a call right now. I also mentioned here, before I let you guys go, Morgan Stanley, MS, looks like they just wrapped up their earnings call. Morgan Stanley saying they expect their net interest income, or NII, key metric for the banking segment. They expect this to build modestly or consistently here over the course of 2026, and then modest sequential increase in Q2. So they think over the year, it'll be nice growth. They expect modest quarter-over-quarter growth for NII as well, just in the near term for Q2 26. Back to you.
Oh, I love me some Morgan Stanley. Just keep it up, Morgan Stanley. As long as you get that growth, they're leading the banks today. BM&R just came to VWAP, so we did finally get this. Elected not to reload. Well, I mean, whatever. iBit's at the low of the day, so I was not going to reload this at literally the low of the day. But as that's trying to break down, you are seeing the market at the highs. But just like yesterday, you're seeing relative weakness over in the crypto market. So if it's going to stay trend down, then we're going to continue to look for the short side. Going to give this one to 21.5 because that's a prior bar, so short VWAP. Give it to the prior bar, look for the low of the day. And as we go, still wanting that Robinhood on trend. It'll be interesting if this holds the entirety of the day on the upward trend while crypto looks weak. But that's what we're looking at right now. Hasn't really dipped back into VWAP. We can be patient. Sometimes the best dip into VWAP happens between like 10, 10:30, even lunchtime. Who knows? But Robinhood on an absolute tear. I see the quantum names up there, and I want to shout out to everyone putting your symbols in. We get it. We love it. And I see Allbird, which, look, I'm not going to come. I don't know any. Look, if they want to pivot their business to AI infrastructure from a shoe company, congratulations. It looks like a lot of short covering because of the headline, and then who knows what it means fundamentally for these guys long term. But Bird, you got Robinhood, Tesla, Oracle, SMR going to be up here. Webull, which we have not looked at, prefer Robinhood to Webull, but that PDT rule is going to be a heck of a catalyst, I think, for both names. So regardless of what you think about the space, might take some time to implement, but I think it's going to be good for all of them. Yeah, Bird all the way up to $13. The squeeze is really on with this stock. It's just hard to really figure out that kind of a shift, what it really means for the business. I don't think anyone's really trying to price that thing today.
No. Pretty speechless right here to start off with today. That doesn't happen too often, but it's now $7. Neil says Robinhood's really going here, but Tesla $7. I mean, Robinhood's probably. Oh, you know what I want to look at? Let's look at SoFi right here because I didn't get that fill yet on my own account. I'm at 18. So if that comes in, it got to 18.20 there. We'll see if we can get some SoFi love back in. Yeah, what's up, Barton, man? You want to make it $8? Can we make it $8 there? And you know, I used to think that some of these things weren't possible, and then now it seems like it's happening all the time. So, like we said about just being focused on what strategies are working, and this is definitely one. We had that couple big moves yesterday, and then the very first trade here today, Neil, is $8 straight to the upside. So it's always great to have have these on board there. So yeah, you're right, Ja. We have had $20 winners on this, but whatever. So far, so good. The good thing about this trade is that we actually still have on 15%. So, and we've been getting out, look, 369, 370, 371. So we actually just have been holding on and getting pieces out as we go higher and higher into this name. So it's been allowed me to hold on to this for quite a while. So I don't know what sort of a lesson this can fit for today, but I definitely want to talk more about Tesla as we go. So just, you know, when you can make it like that, it's not easy, as we say. So just happy to have that trade. You could always have gone the other way there, and we're just lucky that it worked out for us there. Apple 258 and change. This name really pulling back. I mean, this is what could happen to to Tesla at any time, right? So we're into 15% left, but there's Apple up, down, like complete almost an A-shaped recovery there, up, down. We just need a line to go through there for that A. I like the V-shapes a little bit better than that as well. So yeah, good move there. And second round of talks. Yeah, we've had Pakistan's now trying to bring these guys back.
You're the big time moderator. That's what it seems
right
like.
There, but yeah, man, that's what it is. So
it was a question I liked.
Yeah, sure.
I really liked the question, but I'm trying to find it. It was Crystal Castle. Right here. It's easier to just do it this way when I have it on the message instead of putting it on the screen. Can you say a few is why you choose to be short biased today? I'm not bias short with all the strength in the market. It's pretty simple. Relative strength and relative weakness. The dip buy didn't come in for me on NVIDIA. That was the one I liked the most, and it didn't sniff my dip buy level, so I'm not into it. But the NASDAQ was trend up all day yesterday. This is the NASDAQ yesterday. This is iBit yesterday. This is ETH yesterday, trending down. So for me, the first setup that happened was identify relative weakness because the market was going up, and then the first thing that happened was Bitcoin started losing the bid. So like rightly or wrongly, it's a setup of fail the high, short underneath VWAP. It's a setup that works. And like if something works, you just sort of stick with it. If that's the first thing that comes in, then that's the first thing you're going to trade. And over time, like your job as a trader is to just take setups that work for you and then make sure when I take this setup, this particular setup, do I make sure that I win more than I lose if it doesn't work? And then win, lose, or draw over the long term, you can be a consistently profitable trader. Like BMNR, it doesn't seem like it wants to hold underneath that volume-weighted average price the same way that Bitcoin does. So if Bitcoin continues to hold, then I'll dump out of this and maybe decide I want to reload iBit instead of BMNR, right? So you go with the one that's working the best, and then it'll usually end up in like an all-day. If it's relatively weak, I can end up in like an all-day short. But it's just a setup style trade. You know, like there's a breakout level, so there's the short, there's your out, just leave it to the stop. And if we get a chance on NVIDIA, and again, it never came anywhere near the levels I liked. Like I wanted it down around the 195 because that was the massive breakout price, and it's in the chop. It hasn't really sniffed anything that's good for me. And Robinhood was another one to the long side, but that's not pulling back into VWAP. It hasn't seen VWAP since like minutes into the open.
Okay. Okay, so we still have that. We can get rid of that news source. I was just trying to.
Oh, that's that's the old story.
Figure out here. Okay, I was wondering if one of my orders was on post only because I tried to punch out a little bit there of Tesla. But anyways, we get that. I'm now rating at 373 now for the next order. Just to, I mean, we topped out 372. That might be it. Actually, I wanted to get, now that this keeps changing, I wanted to get out of, if we broke through this 200 period, the 25 period moving average on our 1 minute chart. So we're getting closer and closer to that rate now. This purple line right there. So that's 368.50. So let's put out an order to get out of a third of what we have left. We have, like I said, about 12% or so left on this one. I think that's been the big change for me, being able to hold on to something a little bit longer here with a bigger position. So 368.50. We'll put a stop order in and see if that triggers on these numbers. What's up, Adara?
We're about 10 seconds away now. Not a massive number here, but something to be aware of. NAHP Housing Market Index forecast 37, prior print 38. So we're expecting a little bit of a decline from the prior print here for NAHP Housing Market Index April. Larger decline than we expected. So coming in here at 34, again, prior print 38. Our expectation here was 37. Here's the market hanging out at intraday highs, right above that 630 level. S&P 500, a little bit choppier looking here than the NASDAQ. And oil, of course, going to remain on focus. This holding up relatively well. We did just get some comments from White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett. He said that he believes the spike in oil prices will be, quote, quite temporary. As of right now, again, we've already kind of given back some of this spike over the last couple of days. And today, roughly where we opened. But yeah, just be aware, oil is going to remain on focus. Geopolitical conflict will remain in focus. And also in focus is Robinhood, HOOD and BULL, both on watch today with the SEC saying that getting rid of that PDT pattern day trading rules. So that's been a good look here for BULL and HOOD. Again, this news came out yesterday, but the stocks really reacting in a big way today. We have to talk about Broadcom as well. AVGO is in focus. They announced that they expanded their partnership here with Meta. It is related to AI chips and deployments here. Basically, they're going to be deploying technology to support multiple gigawatts of Meta's custom silicon. So interesting look here for AVGO. Also earnings on watch with ASML, Morgan Stanley, and BAC all having reported this morning. Do make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content as we send you back over to Neil and Sean.
Make sure you like and subscribe for sure. Thanks, Adara, for that one. I was thinking of Amazon. Maybe it's starting to get a little bit short here on AMZN. I don't know. I don't. It's a strong, super strong name, Amazon. Like I just don't know if I want to take this short. But I was looking at it. It's underneath the 200 period. We did take out some of these pre-market lows. Right now we're back. Pre-market lows, and now we're kind of back into those areas. We did make a move into the 200. We didn't hold it. We fell back down. I think you could probably scalp this for $1, 248.50 at least, back down to 247.50 right there. A very, very good opportunity to get back into Amazon. I mean, potentially you want to wait for the long then, down there at 247 and change. That could be a good little look there. And then AAPL as well could come through at 259. We just talked about this move coming back up and then right back down in and then right into some of those pre-market levels, which gave you, again, as we keep on talking about it here, the setup that you would want. And that's a good one to look for there. So yeah, like I missed a lot of my setups too there today, but one hit, which is good. And sometimes that's, you know, you can get multiple ones hit. And it's like the other day when I think I was short the market, but long Palantir or something. And it's because both levels hit, and sometimes you can go back and forth a little bit with it. But I'm at 3, here we go. There it is. Now we're at the highest level of the day. Watch out, you might take a glizzy here. But there it goes, man, 372. Now you're $8. And shout out to Barton there in the chat, said, can we have 8? Maybe we can, but I'm still waiting for 373. We only have 15% left, and we almost got stopped out there when it came back in, right? I mean, again, trying to respect our levels one more time. So I'm going to change that into 369 now. So if that breaks through 369, then we'll get out 369.50, sorry, on where this 25 period moving average is, or we just let this thing mature back to the upside. So far, so good there on this trade, just 1 for 1 over here right now, and looking to get into some more. Should have probably taken that Apple near those lows. But here we go, man. You're now officially $8 in the money, and we ring the cash register on Tesla.
Nice. And by the way, it's not that no one's talking about Microsoft, Dr. Josanne. It's just you can't look at literally everything. Robinhood's coming back into VWAP, so that's what I'm going to watch, the one that I want to trade. But yeah, you see Softy at the highs, the market's at the highs. A lot of things are blasting off. NVIDIA's at the highs, up 1%. You saw the IGV yesterday catch a bit of a bid. I don't want to say a big bid because it was selling off a lot of it, and it did not hold on to its gains in yesterday's trade. Like the initial pop in the IGV was the only pop that you got, then it trended down. So I'd be a little bit careful if this were to lose VWAP today, but the name I'm watching is got to be Hood, is it's trying to pull into VWAP. If we can get a VWAP bounce, it did this at about this time yesterday on the uptrend. This is different. It has failed to break out yet, so it's not like this is not like A+ in terms of yesterday, like it was just breakout, breakout, breakout. This did hold on to prior lows, and it's above VWAP, so the trend is still my friend till the end. iBit hasn't really retaken the low of the day, but if it's still near the low and the market's at the highs, then that one's still going to be valid. Adara, it's already past 10 o'clock.
Oh, my God.
We did that happening now here with those numbers, but I do quickly want to mention here, interesting comments on tariffs from Kevin Hassett, who is, of course, again, White House economic advisor. These came through about a minute or so ago. He said, excuse me, quote, the backup plan on tariffs is almost ready to go. So keep an eye potentially for more tariff headlines down the line here as we get from this quote from Hassett. Back to you.
I did have enough of out there, so I got out there on some Tesla. I just wanted to look at, right here, I want to look over. I know Adair did some happening now, but let's just quickly look at this here. NVIDIA, we have Micron, we've got some good little levels here on KLAC there as well. Texas Instruments coming through. Okay, so, you know, it's just a tale of what is a relatively flat market today. I mean, the NASDAQ's starting to head upside, but if you're looking, it's kind of led by, we saw yesterday, big move in NVIDIA, Broadcom starting to go today. We did get Marvell trying to tick a little bit higher there. But as Neil just mentioned, Microsoft, I mean, that's up 3%. So, yeah, maybe there's something there. Yeah, Oracle, wow, up 5. Yeah, you looked at that earlier. CRM, so some of the IGV names really starting to go. Once again, ServiceNow, ADSK, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of...
What's the single name down there?
Here? What is this name over here? CDW, so I don't know anything about that name. And then right into here, because we have some ASML weakness, you know, like it or not, you know, you are getting some of these names starting to come back in a little bit. Some of the producers like a Lamb there. Wow, okay, now Tesla is now $9 in the money as we continue to break through. Man, me getting out at 372 there, not the greatest, but there it goes. Yeah, you are right, JP, right there as we go woo-hoo one more time there on that one. So, yeah, man, just wish we put a couple zeros behind those numbers there, but there it is, woo-hoo for you too there. But, yeah, so far so good here on TSLA.
I know there was I didn't see that super chat. What was it?
Wasn't one?
For green. Swing trading, day trading. Swing for the greens. Yeah, that was always
Blue Jays style.
Oh, that was always a problem for me in golf.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting to the green. Oh, sorry, it was being on the green. My short game was good. I was the worst putter you could possibly imagine.
Putting is funny.
I'm diabolically bad. How many shares are you trading on a full-size trade on stocks like NVIDIA or Tesla? You want to know scale, curious about lots. Look, we don't share sizes, and in my opinion, it's not about that. It should be about the why for the trade. I had this conversation. I was talking with a trader, and we were going back over like some of the history. The former trader, he does a lot of other business stuff now. And one of the things that we were actually discussing was everybody is going to have their own plan of action, but the more important thing is that you do have a plan of action. Like it should be more about, and you'll always hear me talk in these terms. This is where I'm getting in. This is the key level, and then maybe the stop is exactly on that line, or maybe it's a penny or two. No, but this is where I'm in. I'm risking to here. I'm looking to take one out at the low, and then if in this particular case I was looking for an extension, so I wanted to break that low, and then I want to look to get out on the way down to a 2050. Right? So it's all about the risk to reward and the why. Like I said, why it was relatively weak compared to the overall market. And then it's about that trade as an idea. Because every single individual trade is just that. It is, you want X to go to Y before Z happens. And if X to Z is 20 pennies, then you want to make sure that when you lose, you're not, or when you make, you're not just making 10 or 15. That matters more. Like, where are your entries? Why are you taking it? And what does it mean to be wrong? Because the number one thing, and this again, I even talked to this trader about this last night, the number one reason why traders aren't profitable is because if you go and look at their trading history over like a month or 2 months, they'll have a couple of good, or maybe like 4 or 5 good days, let's just say. It's like those 4 or 5 good days, they're red because their losing days are twice the size of their winning days. And so it just comes down to, well, how do you manage your losers relative to your winners? That comes with knowing where you're wrong and having an actual trade plan. And realistically, the only limitation to share size is going to be liquidity in your account. And everyone's is going to be different. So it's almost irrelevant what someone else is trading because they're not you.
All right, NVIDIA to 200. Yeah, man. I mean, we could see if NVIDIA can go to $200 for sure. Right now, 199 coming into play for NVDA. I mean, wow. You know, like I said, man, yesterday was a great day to check the account, and today's going to be even better as NVIDIA just ripping up that 1% there. If you've got NVIDIA in your account, you got Microsoft, I got in the account, unfortunately. I am just a hell along all MAGs. I might as well just sell everything I have and go into MAGs, M-A-G-S. I mean, what a good symbol that's been.
There's the other one that has all 10.
As of recently, yeah, this is just all 10. This is just MAG 7 right here, but there it is, nice move up, 1.1%. Look at that move, 56 to 64. Right there on the MAGS. So we brought this to your attention a little while ago, and it was like, why bother to pick and choose? I mean, if you have reasons, obviously you want to get into NVIDIA more than Microsoft, more than Google, whatever you're interested in, you can pick and choose it. But this one, pretty good with a management fee behind it. Obviously, if you didn't want to be too specific, MAGS is definitely a good one there as well. All right, I like, now we're almost $10. We won't hit this 10 times, but there it goes right now to the upside. $10 now on Tesla. So we still have 10% left. So that is still a number, and we'll see what winds up happening on the long side now. As there it is, man, you are now officially that $10. And I mean, it's like if you're just joining us for the first time, thank you, and welcome back. If you're joining us for many times, like many of you are, we want to thank you to everybody for all of that. Every day I post this out, you can go back. It's literally every single day. Yesterday, I have this box here, and I pulled it out yesterday, and we found, let's do that. Maybe we can create, yet again, another segment right here. It's what was on past sticky notes. So I have a box here. Shout out to Prad, got me this Palantir hat. And yesterday, I randomly pulled out a sticky note, and Palantir has been a source of very much happiness in my family's life. But, we randomly pulled out a sticky note yesterday. We have a whole box full of them. This has been one of the consistent things here with Trader TV Live has been the sticky note. So I'm just going to randomly pull one out. Look, when we used to be... we used to have Trader TV marked down on the sticky notes, believe it or not. All right, so let me just go with one random stock here. Okay, well, we have Palantir long here at $26, but that doesn't really matter for right now. Let's just pick another one. Oh, this is interesting. AMD we have written down here long at
84.
Yeah, $213.50.
Well, what the?
Can you imagine $213.50 for AMD the same time that Palantir was $26? Palantir's gone up now, X amounts from that. AMD hovering still, $250 for AMD, so that's a good one. Right there. Look at this, Rivian, $11, right? Rivian still a stock there, $15. Palantir, $26 on here. We have NVIDIA written down here. This is a funny one, Neil. 900 long. So this is before the split. Split happened around 12, was it 2100 or something? NVIDIA split, something like that. And then we have Uber. You want to talk about a name that's doing jack all? We have Uber right here, $77. So when Palantir was 26, when NVIDIA hadn't even split yet, Uber, we had written long $77. So talk about like investing versus actually holding on to decent, wow. $11 now in Tesla. But anyways, it just goes back to, being prepared and writing down some levels that you like and then trading off of those levels. And as Neil mentioned, man, it's just trusting your ability to trade, to read levels, and then, hopefully once you've hit levels like this, like I said, to be here, Neil and I are lucky because we both have over 20 years. So it's useless for us to sit here and waste our time. We're going to be here trading. We know the strategies, so we'll use different share sizes on these trades. But it's about, I agree 100%, it's about having the winners in your account, right? So there it goes, man. And this is what it's all about. Whether or not you're trading 5 shares or 50 shares or whatever amount of shares you're trading, it's Tesla today for me. And as you can see, man, there's the extension. And it's really great when it works out as it was written. Shout out to my guy, Nas.
And someone asked in the chat, was that a reload? Because you'll see the price shift on iBit. VWAP is a moving target, like it starts higher, and if it's trending down, it goes lower. I did miss this reloaded VWAP, though, because that's when I went over to BMNR, which was actually the original plan. But one held VWAP, one didn't, and it looks like, basically same thing. We'll look for the low of the day. If the market doesn't really break out here, and we're going, but the NASDAQ's not really extending. Like, you look at the last couple of sessions. Oh, that's right. Why is there volume on days? Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this gap in the chart. Well, you're not really extending. You're only a third of a percent to the upside. So if we get a reversal, I know I'm in the weakest name. That said, if we like the volume weighted average price and we like some strength, this could be the time that Robinhood pulls back in. It has not sniffed VWAP, but it was a good VWAP trade yesterday. And was about, again, it was just after 10 o'clock, so I'm thinking the same thing here. It's at the highs, but it's not blowing out of the water. The only thing that gives me a bit of pause is Bull. Like, Bull is actually setting up something I usually like, which would be a VWAP and a trend break. Like, hold the low, lower highs, break the trend, and go to the upside, which is a setup that I like. So it would simply be like you break it here, go long, and then give it to that prior bar low. So I actually might end up in Webull because it's at VWAP, and Robinhood is not giving me that entry that I'm in love with. But it has to break the trend. If it doesn't break the trend, there's no entry. There, just heard Oklah's up 13%. Yeah, quantum, baby. Quantum is a big deal. Maybe Allbirds should have gone into quantum computing instead of.
And of course, Oklo is nuclear, but I do understand what you're saying. Quantum also up over there.
I don't know what Allbirds is doing. They're a shoe company. I still don't understand that story.
And again, talk about being patient, right? I mean, we wrote down, I'm not going to call it the sticky note up again. I need some more content over here. But we have $12 on SMR, and this was the #2 idea written down there on the note today. And unfortunately, we did not get, we miss it by 10 cents there at that low. Just waiting for this 200 period moving average to hit on SMR, and it just doesn't do it. Oh, by the way, right now, man, just 5% left. We take out the $12 winner, and now we just watch it continue to go higher. I mean, obviously this name was going to be, I thought obviously today as we got that chip news, right? I mean, sometimes stories go the other way, but today it definitely went the way of the stock gods long on that one. I think $200 on NVIDIA is something for sure, but I may short it. It's not really, it's getting to it, and it looks real good. But if we do somehow get a bump, it's just kind of grinding right now. We'll wait to see what kind of size is going to be sitting there on NVIDIA at that level right now. But it doesn't look like it's going to be overly huge just because of the way this is sort of grinding to that north side right now on NVIDIA. So let's just wait to see if it gets up there, and then maybe we can play a little bit of a short initially on that. But I want to see what size is there first. Obviously, a dip down into VWAP would be great right there. Wow, Tesla just took out 377 there as well, man. Birdman fly in any weather, that is for sure. As birds going upside down there as well. We did already look at the we already did look at the board, but we can call that back up again, the stock generation board there. If you guys put something, visualizer, if you guys put something in the chat, it'll allow Neil and I to look at that. So if you do want to put that up, we can do that. If not, Apple right there, wow. This one triggered, man. It triggered. We should have taken it. Wow, what an extension there on Apple. You see, man, I've been only looking long today and only having longs, only one long with Tesla, but just looking there, looking at that short for NVIDIA potentially, but man, did we miss that one on Apple. That came in almost as clean as day there. And let me guess, Amazon's probably going to the downside as well, as we talked about. Yeah, okay, so we talked about that name, again, looking at these levels. We talked about that at the 200 period, right there at 249, but, you know, didn't have too much confidence in taking that either. The NASDAQ 0.36, 0.37. Let me just check out what's going on with oil here to see if we can get another opinion on what we need to do. I mean, with Tesla being $14 in the money, like I may not put on another trade. I'm trying to be as disciplined as can be, and just to show you guys, like, this is why Joe does the options. You know, we're looking at key levels, we're looking at bigger plays, you know, and if I can sit in this all day now and just see what winds up happening and not give any of it back, that would be fantastic for me right there. But there's oil, just went red. So, you know, it is making the move lower now. So we're starting to see what's going on with the oil contract. And like we had Brian on yesterday. Yeah, we had Brian on yesterday. He doesn't even look at USO. He looks at the contracts. But whatever you want to trade, whether or not you're an equity trader or futures trader, this is what it looks like. Look at this. High, lower high, boom, boom. So you're definitely starting to trend a little lower right now in this space. But all right, let's just put it out. I mean, we don't have to hold this all day just because. If we break our levels, we need to get out, right? So right there, 373.50. We'll ho-hum a $9 winner if we have to, and get out right there, 373.50 if it does come back in there for Tesla. I'm going to put the stop order in right now, and then we'll move off of that and go over to Adara with her small cap recap.
I'm just seeing apparently there is a volatility halt for Avis budget, so keep an eye here in CAR. I just saw that apparently it dropped 11% in a hurry, so just be aware this is happening. President Trump's also posting on Truth Social, nothing market related. Let's start with these small caps. BIRD, one of the biggest small cap movers today, probably the biggest. Allbirds is going to be on watch here. Now, again, guys, the news is this company doing a little bit of a pivot, and a little bit is downplaying this quite a lot. They're executing a $50 million convertible financing facility agreement. They're going to transform themselves from a clothing company into an AI compute infrastructure company. So that's the deal here with BIRD. That is Allbirds. Now we have NCI, name mentioned by Luis Barbado this morning. This is Neo Concept International Holdings. This is a Hong Kong-based company with a $4 million market cap, 1 million share float, and apparently a 90% short float as far as I can see. So massive short float and no news catalyst for NCI. Last but not least, LAES. This is super range-bound and choppy today, but there is a catalyst for Seals Q and in that's rallied in the past. They're a quantum play, announcing that they're EuroQ company, so I guess maybe a spin-off here or an affiliate. They demonstrated the future of autonomous quantum computing laboratories in partnership with Conductor Quantum and NVIDIA. So NVIDIA partnership for a subsidiary or related company. On watch here for LAES. This company is a $672 million market cap, 7% short float. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara. Appreciate it. So waiting for an opportunity to get back into iBit. We always had our stop here at 42.07, right under that prior bar. It didn't break out the highs, but we took the reload. It broke back under. We about flat on this one. Obviously, we got a reload. Still like it is relatively weak. But as I said, Robinhood is the one I want to come into VWAP. Someone said it was on the trend line. I think that's, you could make an argument that it is. It's a little bit underneath. It doesn't really matter. It's still upward trending, and it's still above the volume weighted average price, but it has not broken out the high. If it doesn't break the high, it's still going to be look for that volume weighted average price for myself. Whether you're looking at, again, like whether you're looking at like the trend or higher lows or VWAP, it's all of the above for Robinhood. That Webull potential breakout trade, that's right, Webull's a NASDAQ stock. The Webull potential breakout trade, not really happening. It's still holding this. It's kind of above, it's above the lows, but it's not holding the volume weighted average price. It's not extending, and the volume looks pretty weak as well. That's why the focus is going to be back onto Robinhood, which I just like better. Nothing against Webull. I know they're up about the same percentage-wise. Actually, Webull's technically up a higher percentage, but Robinhood for now just looks stronger. So this pulls back into VWAP. I like it a little bit better than Webull. If it breaks upside on Webull, I'll still get in. It just hasn't happened yet, for sure. Chris Sharmy's saying look at Coinbase. Haven't looked at Coin. I can tell you personally, I prefer Bitcoin and Robinhood and a whole lot of other stuff relative to Coinbase as a stock, but I do like the breakout that's happening on the entirety of the group here. Like, you've already made the lows, you've held the lows, they're all taking the 50 period. Bitcoin held that 60K level, is now holding 70K. It's broken that down, somewhat of the downtrend that it's been in when you look at iBit on the higher time frame. So I think, you're getting some participation in that with Coinbase, which is great. I just kind of like Robinhood. I think a few more catalysts there. You're not solely reliant on crypto in the same way. I know Coinbase is trying to branch out, but Robinhood already did, and Coinbase is just trying to follow. And then the one thing that kind of led me to the relative weakness in iBit is, yeah, you're breaking out, but you've been rejecting this prior high in iBit. So until it actually breaks through here, I'm not looking bullish on this. Because if I get a topping tail wick through the high, I'm jumping right back into the short. Because it will just confirm that it's not as strong as everything else. And if that's the case, so be it. You said NVIDIA 200. It's close. 199.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a break at 200 because yesterday, look what happened at that key 95. Reject, reject, afternoon break. I think that would be the more wise call. Let it give you a consolidation breakout instead of just chasing the move up here in NVIDIA.
Appreciate you, DJ Quantum Theory over there. I don't know if you had that yesterday, but Tesla is a beast today. Yeah, like I said, trying to just stay humble about this and not get too excited. But I do appreciate everybody doing that. But there is one GOAT around here. We've already mentioned that. That's Brendan. So we want to say shout out to that. And yeah, what's up, Ethan? Man, I mean, we're just here having a good time, man. We're just an average dude trading and. Having some luck as of late. So, but yeah, I've already talked about NVIDIA there at that $2 mark. I've already talked about going short on it. So if it does get up to there, we'll definitely have a look at the short. Wow. Okay. So just about that Tesla, we almost got stopped out. By the way. On that trade. So I'm putting that stop back in now. It just keeps on extending higher. I have it at 374 break right now. So if that does wind up happening, then we can get out because definitely an extended move. But look, $13 is still $13. We're pretty proud of having that on board. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's the be all end all. You can go $15. You can go right back into VWAP again and it's down. Next thing you know, you're down at 370 again. So, we want to make sure that we do get out where we want to. So we're going to now take that bottom wick right there and see about getting out. So we do appreciate all your nice talk over there and everything. So thank you for that. That's NVIDIA. Okay, so the other name that we have on our watch list today for me was Nike. Of course, we get that good story about Elliott Hill there and Tim Cook stepping in and buying some more shares, putting Tim Cook's total position now to 130,000 shares. I want to thank Adara for the watch list there today, putting all the notes in there for us. Obviously a great read, and if you haven't done that, make sure you do subscribe to our watch list, which is in the chat right there. I'm actually going to show you this watch list just so you guys understand like what you're missing. If you already got it, then I apologize, but this is what it's all about, man. Like every single morning, a lot of work done by the team here for this. So definitely try to get in there and support it by signing up. But there's all your economic events. There's all the pre-market trading, what's trading higher, what's trading lower. Example, any of the earnings that were coming today. We didn't even talk about the banks yet, but ASML, BAC, we did obviously talk about them this morning. And then names going lower. And then all the stories. Here's Broadcom. There's the Webull story right there. Here is a story for Tesla. That was the number one trade for me today. Now, continues going. I mean, have I talked about Tesla today? There's Nike up 2.5%. So that was as of this morning. There's GitLab, and there's the NVIDIA story there when Elizabeth Warren, something about that. Whenever I see like Elizabeth Warren and the word questioning, I just sort of scroll on. Alphabet there, Google minus 2%, 0.2%. So we can have a look there and just all the stories right there. Make sure you do grab that watch list. It is in the description, is in the link. So link is in the description. How about that there? But it doesn't come in. So I'm still bidding, which is why it reminded me. 44.55 is the bid that I have on Nike right there. It gets to 44.70, so we do miss that little long there on Nike, but still fine, still happy with it. But we do miss that trade. Good day there for NKE. I got to look at my account and see if I have any Nike shares left. I might. I literally own like 30 or 40 names. I'm a degenerate investor. All right, J&J as well. Downside there. I really like this stock. They did get upgraded today, but you're not really seeing anything here. So we'll just sort of pass on J&J right now. But I do think that there is going to be some get up to that stock. And then just I'll put it back to Neil in a minute. But Morgan Stanley, let's see if that's, yeah, so good move early. We've seen some strong moves off of early plays on banks. But of course, they were such a good report that look at it, just ride that 50-period moving average. And, you know, I can't see everything, but that is another great strategy on a high stock, on a stock that's been moving. You want to play pullbacks into support levels. And there's one right there on Morgan Stanley. So missed opportunity on that. And then JPMorgan, see if there's any. Oops, that's the Canadian. See, that's a CDR. You can trade CDRs here at Real Trading as well. Yeah, it's okay. JPMorgan, the opposite. So money switching maybe into Goldman, maybe into Morgan, and out of some JPMorgan. Right now, down 1%. This is the big, no doubt they'll be fine, but a little bit of a pullback there for JPM.
Don't worry about any bank except for Wells.
Yeah, Wells Fargo there. I didn't even read the report, so I don't know what was wrong with that one.
It's just the fact that they were the only one that missed on any metric. Like everybody was double beat, and the guides all looked good, and the growth was all pretty solid. And Wells Fargo just missed on their revenue.
Okay.
Yeah. You missed expectations, and every other bank met expectations. They were the only one that got sold off on the day of, so ball doesn't lie. Like if you have a choice to pick between every single bank name that reported this week, and all of them at least held fort, and you're the only one that went down, yeah, that's not my cup of tea, man. Just join the trend. Citigroup's fantastic. JPMorgan probably going to be. That's the kind of stock you just buy every single time. All right, well, enough of that. Robinhood ends up holding on to the trend. It doesn't get to VWAP, but it just bounced off trend, pulls back, holds trend line, it bounces off at 85. And now it's trying to get through 86 here, so it takes them out in front of the pre-market high, and then see where it can go. This is not a blue, okay, 15 minutes, not gonna show you. It's not completely blue sky setup, because if you go out to like February, like you're breaking this level here, but you go to February and had some failure at 88. So there's some chop on the way too. So 86, 87, I think you could run into some resistance, but it eventually comes on trend. But just because I'm long that, it doesn't really change the fact that if I said topping tail candle at this level on iBit, then I want to look for a reversal here. Because it's at the highs now when the NASDAQ's been going through highs all morning. And I still like the relative weakness if it loses that top. We just had crude oil. Crude oil inventories there. But I didn't even see a move on oil futures.
No. It's not moving on these stupid numbers. We're moving on Strait of Hormuz news, and we're not getting too much of that right now. So I believe there's probably is a truce and a peace offering already labeled out, and just a matter of announcing it. So I think it's the market's playing that out perfectly right now. They're just front running all of this, right? The day I won't be here next week. This is my last day for 7. But you know, we will. Just the day that there's an official truce announced or a peace offering announced, the market will be down that day. So just get ready for that. I won't be here, but I'll be going risk off on whatever day the official announcement is, and whatever that looks like. I'm going to be going risk off because I do think the market has definitely front run all of that. So okay, so we'll see there. I don't know what's going on. Like, the story with Tesla about the new chips, like I didn't think this was a 3.5% move in there today, or obviously we would still be loaded up. We just have 5% left, and hopefully some of you guys were able to do this trade as well. And if anything, instead of worrying about where my stop order could have been, we could have reloaded it right there as well. But like I was saying again, I'm kind of playing defense right now. Just don't really want to give anything back, so I'm waiting for those ultimate setups. I see Disney, they're hitting some of my scanners. Why would that be? Down to 102. Oh, probably right here. Yeah, days low, trying to break through. You got a 200 period moving average area right there for Disney. That could be potentially a decent long right now on Disney. So that could be a trade to look for. iBit also, so let me have a quick little look over there as Bitcoin 74.4. It's probably just dancing around VWAP, it feels like. Oh no, high day break. So yeah, there's iBit right now breaking day highs as well. So that long continues to work out. Wow, Tesla's now, that's so funny because Barton, do you remember in the chat when you were like, hey man, it could be an $8 winner? I was like, yeah, $8 would be pretty sweet. You know what we're putting on its head right now? $14 right there now. So there we go, man. Another one there. $14 in the money there for Tesla. And we did pretty good. Like, we did really good holding on to this. So, you know, we got out pretty much every dollar on the way up. And then we just said, forget that noise and let's try to hold the last 10%. So we do that and we get out there at 376. And now we're really escalating through up to 378 right there for Tesla. On, again, the story of all. Oh, and by the way, we had a huge trade on Netflix on Monday as well when we had 102.50s. That was a top VoIP pick. Shout out to top VoIP there in the chat. On Monday, that was the #1 name there on the list as well. But yeah, there goes Netflix, man. Big time movement for NFLX to the downside early, back up to 106. Now you're just on VWAP. So that's what hit the scanners there, which is what brought me to my attention there on Netflix. Okay, it's NVIDIA's world, man, and we're all just living in it.
200.
Yeah, and we're sure as hell long NVIDIA there today in the account. So I may get some out at 200. I don't know, man. We emptied this clip on Intel a little bit today. We got some out on Marvell there yesterday. What a move higher it's been for these names as 200 now incoming. Let's have a look-see and see what happens there at 2 bills on Intel. NVIDIA. 200 for Intel would be.
If Intel gets to 200,
then I'm retiring.
The market has broken something. No, 100%. Like that, it has to do like a car to get to 200, like an Avis, if that gets to 200. I haven't seen the offer on NVIDIA yet. I haven't really scrolled back. It's only at 60s, but I'm going to assume there's going to be a couple million shares there. There was 2.5 million visible at 195 yesterday. I expect to see bigger things at the 200 level. Should be pretty massive, but it doesn't matter. NVIDIA's done 50 million shares. You're going to see a big wall, and it's going to chew through it if it wants to. So iBit did make that trend break. So simultaneously, this is trying to pull back into VWAP. So you had a consolidation here, and then if it loses 42.08, then you look for the bid in front of 42. At the same time, it means Hood is going to try to pull back.
Yeah.
If it doesn't bounce off 85, which doesn't look like it wants to, I'll be out waiting for VWAP. So, you know, iBit's the one I like to the south side. Why is that a sell? We'll get out of Robinhood and then hold on to iBit because that's the plan of action, is to be short. Overall, I'll join the trend and play inventory into 86, but once you lose that prior bar, we jump out and just go back to the original plan of action, which is to be short in relative weakness on Bitcoin. You're still trending up in the overall market, and this is still failing those highs. So we'll look to be about half out of VWAP, and then the rest we try to hold into that LOD. This is what it is. Something about crypto that's not really going today. And also I see USO for the first time picking up. This is a bit different. USO hasn't been above VWAP all day long. Now, so if oil gets above the volume weighted average price, then I think you could actually take a leg back in the overall market. And if the market legs back, then we especially want to see that low a day.
All right, nice try there on Robinhood. We love that name, Robinhood. I love it so much. No, I'm not in it. These guys are in Robinhood over here, my man to my right and left. Good pickup there in there. Yeah, tough on the day trade. I mean, when a name moves like that, that's a tough one there. So
not really.
Oh no, okay. I thought that was a tough trade there, just because of how it's moving. That's all. I like Robinhood. I like the day breaks, but that's one thing that really for me, like I was saying about just waiting for tops and stuff like that.
Well, the reason I like that trade is opposed to when you take it on trend instead of the breakout, then you have 85.5 and then risk 85. So in that case, like you're risking 50 pennies instead of taking an 86 break and risking $1. That's the way I always sort of look at that trade. Is I used to just wait for it to break out 86, but it's like, no, if you can get in on the trend line and then be into it to the upside, the example would have been silver yesterday. Like SLV, okay, it'll be kind of hard to see this one. But like when it went into $71 here, like this is the 71 even dollar, you were establishing the trend. It bounced off VWAP. You can be long on the trend in here, get like 70, 50, and then when it breaks out, you're already in. If it fails to break, you don't necessarily lose, or you lose less going into an even dollar break. I just prefer loading into or getting into the position before the actual breakout and risk a little bit less. Sometimes you're in a market where clean breakouts are true, but when it happens late like that, not as big of a fan. And then you throw in the fact that, you know, the market's been breaking out the tops for a while, and any stock that isn't breaking out is just already built different. You just want to make sure you get a better price. So we're almost at VWAP here. If we get to VWAP, then I'll be half out, and then we'll see what goes next. We did have a super chat from Easy Peasy. Didn't want to completely ignore you there, Easy Peasy. Andre, if you want to throw that one up. No? There you go, 2x daily target out of 80% of the trade on Tesla. There you go, easy peasy. Gonna take a little bit of a nap, recharge, or whatever you do. That's what it's all about. It's always interesting. Not many traders use daily targets. I know you do.
No, I don't. But I just mentioned it to people because, like, I still go. I just always mention it because I want people to understand, just like you said. I mean, you went out with some traders yesterday.
I was just one guy.
Yeah, I know. But again, like, you know, and I know he wasn't a successful one. And it was just a matter of talking about, like, what makes successful traders, right? And so that's why easy peasy and stuff like that. I think if you have a mental goal for yourself, then and you hit that, then it is doing what you're doing right there. Go have a nap and chill out. You know, 98% of traders will fail. And, you know, I haven't seen stats different than that. And I've hired and trained thousands of traders. So, you know, the pool of that is quite large. I'm not just talking about sample size of what I see around here. I'm talking about, like, traders around the world and all different styles of trading, to be exact. So many people love trading, and it gets, like, into your mind where it's like, this is something I want to do. I want to be like a full-time trader, and I think I can do real well. Well, the problem is it's a very, very tough business. So I like to preach the fact that I think this is a part-time gig, not a full-time gig, to be a day trader. I think you need to hit it and quit it, have some side pieces, gigs. See what I did there?
Have like Mike Vrabel?
Yeah. Have some side gigs there on the side and make sure that you're managing your positions. And then, like we said, with think about the successful traders in our chat, right? Easy peasy, you're one, I assume. That JKL, like, some of you guys know what the life is and what we're talking about. So, anyways, thank you so much.
This is a good point here because M. Kelsey.
Yes.
Every trader, that actually doesn't necessarily, it doesn't
mean that, no.
I've seen lots of traders say
that's why the share size thing is so important.
More wins than losses. You could, like, just do simple math.
Yeah.
If you trade, you know, say every single day in the week, right? So you trade 5 days in the trading week, and you're up 2 out of those 5 days, but when you're up $500 each time, right? So let's just say you make 1,000 on those 2 days, and then you have 3 losing days, but you lose 100 on each of those. Then you're positive, and you were 2 out of 5.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and there's traders that are the other direction. Like, I've seen plenty of traders who are up 3 or 4 days out of 5, and they don't make money. And the answer to why that's true should be obvious. It's because if you go and look at it, they're just losing too much relative to their winning days. So there's no one formula.
No. I mean, 2% of traders successful.
It's just whatever works. That's the whole thing. You can't pigeonhole to there's one way to do it. No, you find whatever way works and just do that. I mean, because it's hard enough a business without trying to do it a specific way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's way too hard. I know we're going to Adara here. It is 10:40. I know that sector watch board. I wish it looked a little bit better because it's a little bit mixed.
374.50.
That being said, Neil, there are a lot of sectors with some outside strength. I mean, mostly it is tech, but a lot of these tech names are battling back quite nicely. The SaaS-mageddon over, at least for now. Oracle to the upside and Apple 11 to the upside, both of these up about 5%. Adobe, we know, got hit yesterday with Figma on news that we'd get this new design tool from Anthropic. Right now, though, recovering quite nicely. We've got ServiceNow up 6%, Microsoft and Meta both to the upside now. And electronic technology, this is a lot less rosy because you have Micron and SanDisk both down sharply. But NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Apple all to the upside here. Broadcom, of course, with that Meta chip deal up a cool 4%. Consumer durables being held up exclusively by Tesla. The rest of these are going to be red. Consumer services has some bright spots, including McDonald's. Commercial services here, decent look. We know Uber on watch here with their, I guess, cars here for robo-taxis. There's a headline this morning. They're up 5%. DoorDash up 6%. So transportation with some strength, but a lot of these other sectors that I haven't mentioned yet are going to be incredibly weak. Producer manufacturing, consumer non-durables, retail, trade, energy, minerals, utilities, industrial services, and process industries all to the downside. Back to you.
Thanks, Max.
A SPAC? Oh, is that?
Oh, no, I thought.
Did we ever find out that IPO, by the way?
I thought, okay, there's two. Well, no, the IPOs we care about are tomorrow. There's Madison Air Solutions tomorrow is 2.5 billion IPO, and Arxis. Madison Air Solutions is not a. Like you'd hear that and you think, oh, maybe it's like a drone company. It's not. There's like some air purification, whatever, buildings. And then Arxis tomorrow is 1.2 billion. But this is the one today is a SPAC, which makes it trash. So they open at $10. They don't move too much off of $10, unfortunately. But there's a couple of decent IPOs tomorrow. They're just not in sectors that I think have any hype. And I'm not hating on anybody that's in the air purification business. I just know absolutely nothing about it commercially, and maybe it's fantastic, but it is 2.5 billion tomorrow. All right, the market's still trying to play into those highs. At some point, it's like you got to break the low, and it's going to be tricky for iBit to break the low. So got to VWAP, it's breaking underneath. If it doesn't break the low of the day, I think it's going to be because the market just kind of drags everything higher. So what I think could be good is if we get a trend break on the NASDAQ, then that'll be a spot to say, okay, let's reload. Regardless of what's happening in iBit, I'll look for the reload. It could then be at the low of the day, it could be at VWAP, whatever that is. If we break the trend down, that'll be a spot to re-engage in IBIT. I don't know why the position board just went out. But I'm still in just this. Right? So we reload. We said if it did a topping tail candle, then the thesis was still on, and I would jump back into the short, which we did. Now we're just looking for LOD. I know that bird stock, Allbird, has been the, I guess, the small cap gapper du jour. You can't buy VWAP here because it is about $4 away. 377%. If you're looking for the story, yeah, these guys are pivoting to the AI infrastructure. Allbirds. Yeah, I still own a pair. Nice, but apparently that's not what they do anymore. So I think they're going to like Bird AI or something like that.
Yeah, well,
AI is going to be the name of it.
We've known for a long time that birds are fake. Birds are just robots flying around getting data for Elon Musk and all that kind of stuff. So birds are not real to begin with. So I think the shift over into AI is probably smart.
The realest bird is the bird man.
For them. Yeah, and the bird is also the word. So you guys can get that. Someone said at the beginning of the day that, you know, a tired Sean might be a more funny one right there. And you might be right. I want to say shout out to O. James over here. Side Piece Trading LLC. Don't take that name from me, my guy, over there. I got to go, me and Joe are going to register that name right there. It's actually funny because tomorrow we're off on vacation, and I didn't realize how much this vacation would exactly cost me. Both my daughter and wife yesterday, Manny Petties, both got their hair done. My wife right now is getting her hair done as well, so that'll be a couple bills. The amount of clothing that's being purchased is absolutely unreal. She went to Costco yesterday and bought about 14,000 things of sunscreen.
It's crazy.
I didn't even realize there was an SPF 70.
She do.
They wear what, acrylics, I think.
Does she do braids when you guys go, like?
We've never been anywhere, so this is going to be the first time that we go there.
Sometimes, like, you know, braids in the...
Yeah, Marissa won't do braids. She'll think that that's a cultural appropriation or something like
that. Such...
it's hilarious that Beckham saw Nelson Mandela wearing cornrows. That's hilarious. But at the end of the day, yeah, we probably do that. That's a lot of fun. Maybe she'll come back with braids and we'll take some pictures. But yeah, this trip is costing just a little bit more than what the trip actually costs. So that should be a lot of fun going there. So, and Joe will be in the seat. We're really working Joe, really grinding this guy over because he's going to be here then all day on the midday show. So Sharif and Joe will be doing the midday show, and then Joe will be with Neil all day, and then that's how that will play out. And then I'll be back next week, and so yeah, you guys will have a lot of fun with these two guys. We're going down south, so we're really excited to do that into the Caribbean. So we're excited to see how that goes. But
island weather, baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be nice weather around here, but I haven't taken the kids anywhere. They've only seen one beach in their life in Miami, so like real proper beach on an ocean. So, but anyways, we're really excited. Yeah, we'll be still here. It's just Joe is the man, the myth, the legend. So we're gonna go with Joe there. I want to thank him for filling that out. NVIDIA, by the way, yeah, we'll go there.
I was gonna tell you, you got to 99.
Just bounced off.
99.91.
Guys, we talked about shorting that, and I just got distracted, and we didn't do it. So there's another win, man. Watch out for those glizzies again over there, Neil, as we get one in the face. But there goes NVIDIA right there, 99.90s. We said we were going to short it, and for some reason, we started talking about vacation. We started doing all these other things there, and we missed it. But that would have been the good short. At least all y'all heard me say it. I don't know, did anybody take it in the chat right there? Good little dollar club for you if you did. I wish we would have. That would have been well worth it. Not only for it to see that level, but to take that level. And we'll see where there's a bouncing spot right now for NVDA. 13 more minutes until the flagship takes over. Sharif is now in his desk.
He is. Someone said it didn't hit 19. Well, I mean, I don't know what.
Well, we have the high of 88s.
Yeah, okay, fine. Like if it was like 88 is the top, 19.9, basically the same thing. It didn't break 200. Like I think we're splitting hairs at that particular point. But whether it gets back in and gives you the final VWAP trade, we'll see. I don't know if it's going to have that kind of strength. And, Commodity King just mentioned something that's, well, it was near and dear to my heart, but it hasn't done it yet. And there's a big-time it that I'm looking for on AVGO. Aero Environment, and when you make it, we make our picks, but ultimately, one of the more important things with the picks is you've got to be able to be honest about like what you're actually doing. It'd be easy to be like, I like this stock for the year. No, I bought AVAV when it held the 200-period moving average. I trimmed a third of it when it got up into the prior resistance level. I wish I could tell you that I got it for it. I did not. It was like at 360 or something in front of 3. I missed out on another like $30. When it lost the support at that 230, I got out. I'm not that dude that's holding on to it all the way down, but I do like the fact that it's making a bottom, and I do want to get in again. But it's not above the 50 period. It can't retake $200. So I still like AVAV. It just hasn't looked like a reload for me at any particular point. And believe me, like if I buy back into it, just like I said when I got out, if I buy back in, I'll be like, yeah, this is now looking good. I'm gonna like it on the well, it's more of a swing count. It'll be my TFSA. This one I don't own my long-term account.
We have some here. Let's do an update. I don't know. Is this is the dark mode here? There it is. Dark mode. There it is. Dark mode.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. So as of that right here, I have the same story, man. I didn't buy. I'm not long BBAI at this price, but that's the price that got scheduled. And
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And when we made this, we told you guys these were our picks, at least for the year, for the half year. So we are. Yeah. Let's do it, Joe. You get on top of it, man. Let's go. Joe, do you have your mic on? No, okay.
We already said we're doing it at half the year.
Yeah. So right here. So we're doing half a year.
We already said that.
So right here. So here's Joe down 5%. I don't know why he's getting so testy about this. Yeah, there it is right here. 94 days so far. Right there to 365.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, Fabian just told me. This guy's on fire right here.
Oh, yeah.
So out of all of us right now, there's about 50-50, right? I mean, the aggregate is down, of course. There's Brendan, Mateus O'Neill's picks. Obi, we can go over some of the picks. It's 10:50 right now. You guys can maybe do this in the midday. There's Circle short right now, so that's down 27%. This BW trade, I can't remember the name there, Baker Hughes or something. It's not Baker Hughes, of course. Babcock's Wilcox. There it is. So those are so one. This is a good example where you can go 1 for 3. Right there, right? Here's Neil's picks. There's AVAV down 46%, FCX up 17%, CRISPR up 4%, and then here's Sharif's as well. Pretty even keel there for Sharif. These kind of cancel out, and then he's got Northrop right there up nicely there for you. And then on mine, it's Marvell is like up 66%. Like I have basically the same amount of money in Marvell and Eli Lilly, so that's that. And my Big Bear AI price is actually 420 in my account, and we keep on talking about that there. So we like that one as well. But last year I was really lucky because we were able to have, we put up 167% or something last year, and that's because we had Palantir, which was an absolutely huge, and we've talked about Palantir being that stock. So there it goes. All right, let's go back over to the desk. We've got Adara with something that talks, and today it's Tesla money, baby.
There's a small chance, emphasis on small, that we could get a green day after 4 days of selling on the US dollar. However, I say small because right now we are up, it looks like 0.02%, relatively flat here, but above yesterday's low. So let's see how this fares here on that US dollar. Again, it looks like this next level of resistance is going to be this area that we're resisting, to repeat myself, near 99.2. That was that high that we had on Wednesday after the gap down on the ceasefire news. We rejected that level again on Monday. So again, 99.2 is maybe a level to watch right now. Not even close. We're at 98.1. So quite a ways below that level. Let's talk about the CME FedWatch tool. As of right now, 98.4% of participants expecting we're not going to get any rate change. So very unlikely we're going to get anything massive changing in the next 2 weeks. Probably still going to get rates held in place. We're expecting that for June as well. Now, if you look here at the wider time frame, again, September still going to be the first sign of the cut. So it's just we hear, oh, the Fed could maybe cut rates this year. The Fed could give us a rate cut sooner than we're expecting. As of right now, I think until we get some fundamental economic data shift, looks like we're still going to have to wait until September 2027. However, that does not mean that we won't get some kind of data to change things up. And we also had President Trump yesterday saying that Kevin Warsh apparently said he'll cut rates. So whether you want to believe that or not, President Trump's confident that once you get Warsh in mid-May to replace Powell, you're going to get some kind of rate change. Back to you.
What is that?
Tracker. At the bottom.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm looking up
Neil's
top
looking
for
at this
something.
right now. We're $15 in right now on Tesla. It might be a good time to figure out what's for lunch as we get going on this one right now. So let's go over into the email and find out what is for lunch. What was for lunch yesterday? Yesterday was a jerk chicken. Yeah, yesterday was pretty good. So I'm going to find her here. Here is menus till April the 17th. So let's have a quick little look today. And the flag, today is Wednesday, the 15th. Okay, we got a Greek flag. So we had American, Jamaican, and Greek. And it was actually made sense. We got ribs with mac and cheese was the American flag. So that's pretty, can't be more American than that, I don't think. And then yesterday we had jerk chicken. I mean, I think that's, again, Jamaican, you can't beat that. And then today is kind of the same thing again. Yeah, exactly. It's Mediterranean lemon and herb chicken, which is pretty good with tzatziki, so that's nice. And then the vegetarian, which if Ramin doesn't come in, which I think she's in already, I was going to steal her falafel because they're really tasty. Crispy falafel with tahini sauce, man. You cannot beat that. I might actually switch.
The vegetarian would be way better.
I might switch into falafel. Starch, garlic roasted potatoes, so that's okay, with roasted vegetables again. So we have that, and then a chopped garden salad, which will probably be Greek salad, but I have no idea.
Chopped garden? No. If it's a Greek flag, there's only one kind of salad. It should be a Greek salad.
It should say Greek salad. Let's see what's on it, though. It doesn't say.
Come on, it's gotta be Greek salad.
Yeah, it could have olives and feta. Let's wait to see. Give it a chance there, Neil.
I'll wait till if it comes out and it's not a Greek salad, I'll hit the fail a few more times out.
Okay, and there's been no failing today as we only have one trade, and it's Tesla. And guess what, man, Sharif, we took this trade at 9:30, right off the open. What level, Sharif? The one that we put on our sticky note, 364. Where is it right now? 380, Sharif. So we got $15 right now in the money. It's 379. We're going to look at 380. I'm going to stop out, man, thanks, man, I appreciate that. I'm going to get stopped out on a 50-period break as we get dabs up there from Sharif. We appreciate all the love here and the support. Thanks, Neil, for the support. Thanks, everybody. Thank everybody on the show watching right now for the support, man. We are absolutely rocking and rolling. And I just told something to Joe. I was like, all these ideas, we've gotten in big time trouble if we don't have our mics on.
Yes.
So it's like like yesterday in the midday, the minute Joe has his mic on, he can come on. Anybody can come on any minute, including Fabian. By the way,
the problem is
Chilean Nightmare, get over here.
We'll have conversations. Yeah. You guys can't hear the other side of the conversation.
Yeah, and it's not. How many times are you watching something and they talking off camera? Almost never. You can't hear it. So we just want to make sure that everybody can hear Mr. Joseph Wilson because he is a partner in Side Piece Capital. We've already talked about that a couple of times. It's Wilson and Katina Capital coming through. Okay, we always get requests for Fabian to come on. So, hey, Fabian, Tesla's at 380 right now. So all is well on this side. Are you excited for the Greek lunch today?
Yeah, possibly. Does it have like a Greek salad with it?
We've already had this discussion.
Or is it just souvlaki, like the dried chicken?
I have to admit, Fabian, you don't sound that excited about it.
I'm all right. I do enjoy the olives in it.
He's all right. Give me what song you're listening to now. Let's learn a little bit more about Fabian.
Man, you got to give me a little heads up.
Okay. Anything? What's a band? A band that right now you're so interested in?
I was like catching up on my Oasis discography because I completely failed on trivia yesterday.
Okay.
And
That's not where I thought you...
I thought it was going to be Weezer, but it was Wonderwall by Oasis.
Oh, yes. We had somebody in Rome sang that to my daughter. Almost knocked the guy out. No, it was at a bar. It was a lot of fun. I went to the Oasis concert this summer.
How was
that was
it?
Amazing. I mean, that's got that concert bug again right there. All right, there's that. Favorite type of food?
Favorite type of food? A burger. I think I can demolish a burger anytime, but or pasta. I think I could eat pasta also every day.
Yeah, but you can't just say pasta. Which pasta?
Ooh, like a pasta alla vodka.
Ooh, okay.
Or fettuccine alfredo.
Oh gosh! All right, okay.
Yeah.
Man, this guy's coming with heat, man. Next time I gotta be more prepared for these
Get that
questions.
good ravioli.
Over there. All right, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee, okay. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate or milk?
Oh, a lot of cream.
Okay, so
like
milk chocolate there. And other than that, that's a wrap. And you went to school for?
Media production.
There we go. All right. That's Fabian, everybody. So the more you know, where's that more you know button right there? So we want to thank Fabian for coming out. We always get questions about the individuals behind the camera. So we introduced Andre to you a couple days ago. Fabian, they're the man with the greatest hair around here. All right. By the way, someone said it earlier. I've seen Sean have $20 winners on Tesla. It's $17.50 now, but remember, we're only 5% in. We're just letting this go right now and trying to use this 50 period and just have to keep on changing it. I'm a minute and a half. I got to go to the bank and get some US dollars for some tipping purposes, and then hit the gym, and we'll be back. But that's where my stop is. So for right now, I'm just going to put the stop at like 3 right here because I assume that that's where the 50 period will be eventually. 379 break, and we're out of that one. Good trading for everybody today. Thanks for watching, man. It's been a banger of a day, and I just hope that you guys have enjoyed yourself.
Absolutely. With 1 minute to go, NVIDIA might get to 200 before we get out of here and send you guys off to the midday. We tagged it, I don't know, I guess 99.88, so I shouldn't say 90 because we got in trouble for saying it got to 99. 90, but we're getting pretty close to this potential breakout for NVIDIA. It's been it's just been a rocket ship, but it's not alone, man. The Tesla's going crazy. The NASDAQ is going to go higher. I do think you're going to get that 200 break in the middle of the day, early. I just cautioned yesterday when it put in the triple top, and then the breakout came at 3 o'clock. On power hour is when this finally went. It'll be the same story for me. This market it's going, but it's going without crypto. It's holding. The good thing is if you're looking bullish, it's holding the volume weighted average price now. So I took a little bit more out at VWAP because it's trying to hold on to that range. But as long as we don't break out that top, I can't get bullish on this bad boy. And Sam asked why you're tipping in the USD. That's an easy one.
Even when I went to Cuba like 15 years ago, I was tipping in USD.
All of the islands, the vast majority.
What am I going to do? Give them a loonie?
The US dollar is just sort of. Yeah, you never use Canadian dollars down there. You'd use US. Depending on where you're going, like some islands, if it's like, my family's from Antigua, they could be the EC there. It's that or US dollars. That's all anybody uses.
No, but I mean, even when we went to, US dollars is just universal.
It's a thing.
It's like you give that tip and that's what it is, right? So with the amount
it's also desired more. Like in Antigua, trust me, people are happy if you give US instead of the EC. And nothing against it. It's nothing against it, but it's just as what it is, man.
Yeah, so anyways, that's what I'll be doing. Or you can give pesos, doesn't really matter if you're going to Mexico or wherever you're going there. You go to Rome, you can tip US dollars. I mean, it is pretty universal. All right, it's 11 o'clock. Thanks, everybody. Off to the midday show. Let's see where Tesla winds up. We'll see you at 2 p.m.